Normally we do the 702 open line. It will still be an open line, but a different kind of open line. So we'll hear from the community members what their service delivery concerns are, where they feel they have been failed, and what they're happy about, and what they think the solutions are. And then we're going to bring in the guests we've invited to join us for this town hall meeting. We'll start with the 4 big parties that will be joining us on stage to engage with the community, but also to hear from them what their proposed solutions are to issues that this community and many other communities are dealing with, whether you talk about crime, you talk about the issue of unemployment, immigration, township economy. We'll also bring in political parties that are contesting national elections for the very first time. We'll bring in Rise Mzansi, Bossa is here, Action SA is here, Shiluva is here as well. The MK party is going to be joining us as well, and other parties that I'll also introduce to you at a later stage. But we're going to start with an engagement, hearing from the community, and Sidi Madia will be facilitating that conversation. What are the rules of engagement, Sidi?
Good morning, Clement. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I think the rules on my end are quite simple. I want to be able to give everybody a chance to be heard. So let's be mindful that while the political parties are here, it is also about concerns of the community here in Kloof. So let's try to keep it at a minute. This microphone that I'm holding is mine. It's not ours. I'll hold it for you and give you a chance to speak. That's pretty much it. Keep it tight, keep it concise, and don't touch my mic.
Yeah, don't touch Sidi's mic. If you're listening to us on the radio, you can also participate by calling us on 011-883-0702. Preferably, though, send us your WhatsApp voice notes on 072-702-1702. I'm going to ask that we just respect each other in our engagement. I know that emotions can get high. They have gotten high when we've done these kind of town hall meetings. So let's just give each other an opportunity to respond. You're welcome to break into songs. You're welcome to react in a way if someone is saying something you feel is untrue or you feel is worth a celebration. But let's always be mindful to give our guests and, of course, people that will be raising issues here an opportunity to speak. After the break, we're going to start by hearing from the community, and then I'll bring in the guests. It's now 10 minutes after 9 o'clock.
And rolling.
Hi, I'm Bronwyn. When my husband and I met, we lived in a tiny flat with massive space issues. But when we wanted to move, our bank turned us down. SA Home Loans came through, though, and got us into our starter home. And soon after that, children arrived with more space issues. Thankfully, SA Home Loans came through again and got us into our forever home with no issues whatsoever.
And cut. That was easy, hey?
As easy as dealing with SA Home Loans.
Call SA Home Loans on 0860 246 810. Switch today, live happy. SA Home Loans is a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
My family's struggling with snotty noses and phlegmy coughs.
Oh no! Have you tried ACC?
ACC 600 is a convenient one-a-day effervescent tablet from 14 years of age, or now also in a no-water-needed, fruity-flavored sherbet-like granules that dissolve in your mouth. Ideal for the on-the-go adult. Ask for ACC 600 effervescent or oral powder at your nearest pharmacy to get rid of the snotties and flemmings. And trust, if it doesn't say ACC, it's not ACC.
New looks good, feels great. The touch, the smell, crisp and clean. All the buttons, all those features, bliss. Now imagine all of that in one long-lasting experience. Get it with a new car from Bidvest McCarthy. The touch, the smell, all the buttons, all the features, all yours. Go on, you deserve it. Visit mccarthy.co.za or one of our dealerships nationwide. Bidvest McCarthy, we deliver, always.
Painful sore throat? Andalex spray works within 1 minute to treat a sore throat fast. Speak to your pharmacist about Andalex spray. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat.
Just Andalex it.
Leading community conversations. This is the Clement Manyathela Show, live from Soweto.
702. Let's walk the talk.
It's 13 minutes after 9 o'clock. You're listening to the special broadcast of the Clement Manyathela Show. We are live from the Kloof Multi-Purpose Center this morning for the last 702 elections town hall meeting. We're about to hear from the residents of Kloof. We're about to hear from some of the party members about the issues that are plaguing this community. But before we go there, I've got our reporter here, EWN reporter Alpha Ramushwana. You spent some time in Kloof, Alpha. What did you find? What are the residents here most concerned about?
I think, Soweto as a whole, the issues here are almost well documented. I visited the Villa Gazi Street. I mean, it's a very, very beautiful tourist attraction. You've probably been there to have, food and stuff. But as I was driving on Villa Gazi Street, you notice that there's a lot of young people on the side of the road who are either selling fruits and vegetables, some are selling artwork, some are playing guitars, and for some money. And I decided to have a conversation with a number of them. And what I found is that they are not there because they want to. They are not there because they want to sell what they're selling there. They are not there because they want to make money from playing the guitar on the side of the road. The core issue there was unemployment. And that is what I found, that young people in Soweto remain unemployed. They are not getting jobs. I mean, of course, we've seen the Gauteng government perhaps is trying with, their employment initiatives, but they're saying that they have not benefited from any of those employment initiatives that the government has, given them in the past few months. So I think the biggest issue that I've seen particularly affecting young people is unemployment in Soweto. I spoke to a 37-year-old, his name is Makanda Mahlangu, and he tells me that he's making money from selling artwork on the side of the road, but he's not there because he wants to. He was there because he couldn't find formal employment anyway. And this is the reality that many, many young people are faced with in Soweto. The core issue here is unemployment. Of course, another issue is the Kloof hostel. The Kloof hostel is I think it's about 60 years now. It was built in 1959, about 65 years old now. And they haven't seen an inch of service delivery ever since, only now that they're starting to have electricity before the elections. It's only now that they are renovating a small portion of the hostel. And we know the residents there will never hesitate to take it to the streets. That's what they do whenever they need something. They go and block Chrisani Road. But they say they are tired of that, and they shouldn't have to go and protest so that their concerns can be heard by the government. So the main issues here: unemployment, housing crisis in parts of Soweto, and I've also visited another place in Naledi in Soweto. I take you back to October last year. There was a child who died after eating biscuits from a spaza shop. So we're seeing tensions between spaza shops in Soweto and community members here. They want them closed, they want them shut down. That spaza shop that allegedly sold poisonous biscuits to that child has now been reopened, and the community is not happy. There was a media briefing that I once attended by Gauteng Premier Panyazeli Sufi, and he was committing to attending to some of the spaza shop issues in townships. And I spoke to one of the family members who lost a child last year, and they are saying that they haven't seen any of that. They haven't seen those promises being fulfilled. So tensions between community members and spaza shops here are still there. Communities are angry.
Yeah, and those are some of the issues that our guests will tell us what their proposed solutions are. It's 17 minutes now after 9 o'clock.
This is the Clement Manyathela Show.
Live from Soweto.
All right,
702.
702.
Over to you.
Let's walk the talk.
Thank you so much. As you're hearing from Alpha, I hear issues of unemployment, youth frustrations, township development, and that's kind of what we want to tap into a little bit. Mam Nomsa Lisu joins me now. Ma, I want to give you the microphone. What are the issues? What's on your mind? I'm going to hold it for you, but I'm going to give you the mic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Libitso la ka ke Nomsa Lisu. Yes, I'm here to...
Okabua, it's also okay.
Okay. Ke tlo buella batjha ka bakeng la business. Yes, ke mo businessing myself. As ke kgathatseile ka youth e sa berekeng. I've got skills tse ba di batlang. Ha batjha ba tsamaya ba re ba batla di skills ke na le tsona. So my challenge is arena di resource as really more Kloof. I've tried to speak to some of the political parties, but no one is interested ka business ya rona. No one o itshwentseng gore atle a tlo re bona. I am here in Kloof world. Here in this place, I've got the space here. The challenge is, re a renta a room e re leng ho yona. Number two, the resource machine ha iyo. So ke teng ho fa batho ba batjha as go qeta unemployment, to give them the skills tse leng hore di a hlokahala.
All right, Ma'am Nomsa, thank you so much. Speaking there about a need for resources, political parties have made promises. It's elections time. We are hearing many of those. Good morning, Ma. What's on your mind?
I also have the issue of youth unemployment in my mind. There is an issue about the escalation of crime, but crime is actually caused by the idle minds of our kids who are educated but unemployed, especially the boy children. We complain about gangsterism and crime, but we don't go to the root cause. The root cause of this crime in Soweto, it is because of hunger, because of idling, because of lack of resources for, families to maintain themselves.
All right, Ma, thank you so much. I think resources is an ongoing theme. I'm going to give you one quick bite. There's somebody behind you.
Okay.
I want to give him a chance.
Another issue is the issue of service delivery. We have a big issue about the installation of water meters that are not working in phase 3.
All right, Ma.
Water can address that.
Water is a big thing. If you're reading manifestos, water comes up quite a lot. I know you residents in Soweto have been getting electricity, at least, transformers being put in. Abuti, good morning. What are your thoughts?
It's Unisani Makaselo Lablako. I live in Deep Kloof Zone 5. I'm here to actually raise concerns in terms of us, the youth, we've been disenfranchised. As a graduate, I graduated in 2013, and multiple graduates. However, we found situations whereby we've not been included in the participation of economy. Yes, the policies that they've been talking about, but we're not seeing it on the ground. They up there in the offices, but here on the ground, the situations that we're faced with here, the reality that we're faced with here, the crime that we're faced with here is because of what? We are unemployed. We're very skilled. I graduated in 2013, went back, graduated again, but still, we're still unemployed. What have they been doing?
There's lots of talk about a township economy. Yes. Have you seen that come into life where a government tries to put an effort to help citizens, young people? We hear about it a lot in the media. Are you actually seeing attempts even on the ground?
Well, the policy sounds fine, but on the ground, the microeconomy, we've been disenfranchised, right? The spaza shop economy has been given to our fellow brothers from up in Africa. We don't have a problem with that. But what is the government doing for us as young people to make us to be included in there? How can I rent a place for 3.5 of which I don't even have money for stock? You understand?
So thank you. I hear you. I hear the frustrations. I'm going to ask you two guys to move closer to me. I actually want you guys to move closer to me, to come this way. Good morning, Abuti. Yes.
Good morning, Osidia. How are you?
I'm okay. What's on your mind?
I'm good. My name is Nkululeko, by the way. My question is around the access to health. One thing, we must applaud the government for signing the NHI. I think that was last week. My question is around that. As citizens of Deep Kloof, we know we have one of the biggest hospitals in terms of Ibara, but what I want to ask is that since the implementation of the NHI, how will ordinary community members benefit from it? How does it change their access towards quality healthcare? And maybe a breakdown of the NHI policy from a representative of the African National Congress would be great, because what I would know is that a lot of people actually do not have a clear understanding of the concept of the NHI. Perhaps the representative of the organization, the ANC,
will give you more.
Us a clear breakdown around the question of the NHI.
Thank you. We had the president of the ANC in studio, myself and Clement, yesterday, and I'm not sure if he answered all those questions. Mzwandile Masina from the ANC is here. Hopefully he'll give you those answers. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Lebohang. My concern is around the untapped potential of young people in our community. We have young people who fall within what we call, they are not in education, they are not in employment, and they are not in training. And it's said that when it comes to time where it's election time, then young people are rallied behind to say, come and make your mark. Whereas there are young people that feel like they are placed aside and they are not participating in the development of the country because they do not have the resources nor the skills to contribute in making an impact.
Are you accusing political parties of only looking at young people as just voting cattle?
I'm not accusing political party, I'm saying what I see.
Amen. I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. I speak now to somebody else. Dumelang Ma, how are you? What's on your mind?
Hi, Tidi, and good morning, everyone. My concern is electricity in my block. We've been having this problem of electricity for more than 20 years, if I'm not mistaken, where the transformer always blows. If it doesn't blow, it burns down totally. Then we are expected to pay the 6,050 rand, which we had to sign consent forms to say we'll be paying 500 rand on a monthly basis. How many families are having kids that are employed or even parents that are employed in our different communities? We are all aware that not everybody is working, not every household has got someone that is getting a decent salary or even working a decent job. But now, how do we fix this problem that has been standing for so long? Councillors have come and gone. Nothing has been resolved. Even now, we don't have electricity. I'm one of the people that do not have electricity as it is from last week, Wednesday. So how do we resolve this? Because it has been going on for so long. And it's really, really, really frustrating, guys. It's really frustrating because some of us have got kids that have got bronchitis and asthma. And someone that has got bronchitis and asthma has to be in a warm place when it's winter. But unfortunately, I have to stay with that child in that cold house.
That doesn't sound right. From a human rights perspective, that doesn't sound right. They're celebrating ESCOM, but Umama is asking, how do you take care of a child with bronchitis under such conditions? Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, and good morning to all the listeners. My name is Ntantla Xaba. My issue is that I know that there were housing units that were developed at the Kloof Hostel. But as it stands, the allocation has not been done, and those units are just idling. So I just want to pose a question to the provincial government. When is the allocation going to be done? Which is the last issue, are there plans from the national government to replicate what has been done around the NASI span, at least at a national level, so that we're able to deal with the issues of unemployment?
Thank you so much. I think as far as the provincial government is concerned, Alpha Ramushwana, one of the journalists from EWN, is here. That is a question maybe he might put to the province about those plans around the Deep Kloof Hostel. So what's on your mind?
My name is Themba Makobela. I'm the resident here in Deep Kloof. My question is also related to the housing issue. We heard that the national government has now introduced the service-size program, where those who cannot afford to go into mainstream bond can apply for those service sites through the provincial government. How are people going to access that if we can get a response, especially from the ANC government, because it's the ANC government that is leading at the provincial level, at the national level. And then also, I see here, we see Ubaba Hemen
Mashaba, he is here.
Yes. When he came in 2016, the first thing that he did, he stopped the subsidy of water in Soweto to say that people of Soweto can't get free services. He then cut the 6,000 kiloliters that we were getting for free. He also stopped the project in Southern Farm, which that project was meant to yield more housing units for people of Soweto, especially the backyard dwellers. So we want the ANC, because they've now started it, to respond to see how far with that project in relation to the Southern Farm. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your comments. Good morning, Ma. How are you? Nkona, Ma, what's on your mind?
On my mind is the issues of corruption. I'm happy that there's a representative from the African National Congress, which is the government of the time. We have had the Zondo Commission. We have had a lot of outcry from our communities because issues of corruption, they rob the money that should be coming for development in our communities here in Deep Kloof and anywhere else. I want the representative of the African National Congress to give us an idea. If they win the elections, how are they taking forward the issue of eliminating and dealing with the issues of corruption within the party itself, as it has been in the media, and within the general people who are corrupt? And we want to suggest that would it be not better to get updating about the issues of dealing with corruption?
Okay.
I'm
going to have to cut you soon, ma'am.
Okay. My second issue is about, I want to ask the DA representative if it's here.
There is a representative, Mike Moriarty is here. Very quickly, ma'am, I am running out of time. I want to give him a chance.
I want to know, why do they want to burn our country down? As a citizen of South Africa, I'm worried about their...
Okay, ma'am. You're worried about the burning of the flag. Many people are. I have a few minutes, so please, just go ahead. I have a few seconds, please go.
My name is Bongole Tumakai. I just want to find out about the issues of military veterans from the ANC. I've seen that Panyaza the last time has brought something for us, but it's too little, and our beneficiaries, the beneficiaries has been taken away from that process. So I just want to know why they don't cater for our kids as well.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to leave it at that. Clement, those are the issues. Military veterans issues, housing coming up a lot, unemployment, particularly issues around youth development, opportunities for young people, and of course, crime is a concern.
Yeah, corruption, the NHI, the township economy, and all of that. After the latest in Eyewitness News headlines, we're going to bring our guests here. We'll start with the 4 big parties, and then afterwards we'll have them also engage with the residents here, but also respond to some of the concerns that they have raised. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. It's 9:30. Sfiso, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. It's Mbali. Good morning. The EFF in Gauteng is calling on retail giant Shoprite to take accountability following the death of a 33-year-old man at its store in Ratanda in the south of Johannesburg. The man, who has been identified as Bandile Shabalala, was allegedly locked in a cold room at the store overnight for shoplifting. 2 more suspects have been arrested in connection with the murder of 5-year-old Ditebogo Junior Palani. The little boy was shot during a hijacking in Soshanguve this month. The Hawks say the pair was arrested yesterday following information about their whereabouts. And a fisherman has died after a snook fish boat capsized in the vicinity of Shelley Point on the west coast. The National Sea Rescue Institute says Shelley Point security raised the alarm at around 4 in the afternoon yesterday. It's been reported that 4 local fishermen were on the boat when it capsized at the backline breakers. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 10 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Edenville, heading towards Bedfordview, there's slow-moving traffic on the N3 southbound. This is between Morafontein Road and Linksfield Road. While if you are in Bramley-Santon area heading towards the Joburg CBD, there's an accident scene on the M1 southbound near Kohler Drive, causing heavy delays all the way from Greyston. There's also slow-moving traffic heading into the Joburg CBD on the M1 northbound. This is in the Boysons area between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange, also in Amalgam. Traffic is a bit sluggish on Main Reef Road between Nasrick and the M2. Otherwise, no other accidents have been reported at this hour, particularly in the city of Tshwane. Free-flowing traffic at this stage. Just look out for those faulty traffic lights in Hatfield, at Pretorius and Jan Shoba. There's also slow-moving traffic. This is in the Kloof area on Allendale Road, heading towards Zierfontein Road. That's opposite the Mamelodi Sundowns headquarters. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
.702 afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja, 1 to 3 p.m.
Why it's not a good idea that someone like myself gets a flu shot. What are the reasons?
So once those complications are over and your symptoms of flu are over, you must wait 2 weeks after you're feeling much better before you can actually come in and vaccinate. So which is why you couldn't get it today.
Yes, I was excited to get my free flu shot at work, but we must recover and obviously be safe. Ayanda Msimang, who is the pharmacy manager.
702 afternoons
with Relebogile Maboja.
Let's walk the talk.
If you've ever felt unfairly treated by your bank, insurer, or credit provider, you deserve to have your voice heard. Now, there's a simpler path to ensure your complaint is heard loud and clear. Reach out to the National Financial Ombud Scheme at nfosa.co.za. It's absolutely free. Backed by the collective knowledge of 4 previous schemes, the NFO is recognized as an industry ombud scheme by the Ombud Council. Take control of your right to complain. That's nfosa.co.za.
The human papillomavirus, or HPV, is a very common virus that affects all genders. Around 8 out of 10 people will get the HPV infection at some point in their lives. Most people with HPV do not know that they have the infection. HPV can cause cervical and other cancers, but here's the good news. HPV vaccination can prevent more than 90% of these cancers. The HPV vaccine is recommended early, starting from age 9. Protect what matters to you for a future free from HPV-related cancers. Speak to your pharmacist or clinic sister about HPV vaccination. This message was brought to you by MSD.
Look at this amazing coffee table I bought at the Deco Furniture Autumn Sale.
It's lovely, Cole, but who's the other coffee table for?
One's for my coffee, one's for your coffee.
And that one?
That's for Bruce.
Bruce is our Cocker Spaniel, Carl.
They were 30% off.
You bought 7 coffee tables, Carl.
Get what makes you happy at Deco Furn's Autumn Sale with dining chairs from $299, bar stools from $399, up to 70% off rugs and much more. In store or at decofurnsa.co.za.
The conversation continues
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
Coming to you live
From Soweto, 702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 25 minutes before 10 o'clock. Welcome to this special broadcast on the Clement Manyathela Show. You're hearing political party members sing here at the Kloof Multi-Purpose Center. This is where we're hosting the last 702 elections town hall. We've just heard from some of the community members about some of their service delivery concerns. They've raised issues of unemployment, issues of service delivery, township economy, crime, the NHI. There are people, young people particularly, who feel that they have been left out and political parties are only approaching them ahead of elections. There are questions that have been asked around Nasi Ispani, questions about corruption. Someone asked the DA around the banning of a flag, and there is, of course, military veterans as well that want their issues to be addressed. I'm going to introduce, as we bring the crowds down now, I'm going to introduce you to the guests that we have here on the platform on stage. We've got Zwandile Masina, who is representing the ANC. Mr. Masina, thank you so much for making time. Your mic should be somewhere there. Let's just test and make sure everything is fine. Are you good?
Yes, I think I'm good.
We can hear you loud and clear. Dr. Mbuyiseni Ndlozi is representing the EFF. Dr. Ndlozi?
Good morning and good morning to all the 702 listeners. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Zandile Machozi is the Deputy Chief Whip in Parliament for the Inkatha Freedom Party. Mama Machozi, thank you so much for also making time.
Thank you, Clement, and good morning to everyone who's here today.
And we also have Mike Moriarty, who is with the Democratic Alliance. Mike, thank you for also joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much, Clement, and thank you everybody here and everybody who's listening. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to maybe start off with you, Zwandile Masina. I suppose when they talk about the tough thing about being an incumbent is that you often have to take so much responsibility as people that are in charge. There are some, you've heard what the residents have been raising here. Maybe let's start with the issue of NHI, and then I'll make that a central theme among other representatives here to respond to. There's a young person who says, we still don't really understand what the benefit is to us. How do you explain it in simpler terms, this national health insurance policy?
Thank you very much, Clement, and thanks to all the residents who have showed up and asked critical questions. What the Department of Health has done after the NHI was signed was to produce a pamphlet basically simplifying how the NHI is going to work and how it's going to be phased in. Basically, It's around dealing with the two-tier system, health system that has been going on, where almost 15% of the community has got medical aid, about 84% or so does not have medical aid, and yet all of us are paying tax. So what is going to happen over time is that the government is going to make sure that there is equal health opportunity for all the residents. And that pamphlet is going to be released so that all our people can get to appreciate over time. So we're happy that as a first step, the universal health access is going to be made available to all our people in South Africa. Thank you.
Dr. Mbuyiseni Dlozi, as the EFF, I remember when the policy was, well, the bill was passed in Parliament, as the EFF, you had responded in that you welcome it. Now that it's been signed into law by the President, what's your position as the EFF?
Well, in its current form, the NHI is a basic electoral farce. And nobody in South Africa, at least for the next 5 years, and that is at least, is going to get access to medical private health care based on that bill. It's got problematic clauses, and I'll just mention one that is a fundamental human rights violation. For an example, they say only people who are registered in the NHI will then get access to treatment, or they will get access to health care. The reason why we wanted universal access to health care is precisely to undermine the barrier that private capital extraction creates to access to health care. So if I get in an accident and I'm in South Africa, I must be treated to any near hospital, regardless of whether it's private or public. And the NHI is consistent with that barrier. There are other problems that where the entire public healthcare system is going to collapse, and all you're going to have are private capital profit extractors who are making money out of something as crucial as people's health care. Our solution would have been, in the main, removing those barriers, but to conceptualize a healthcare system that is preventative. And that occurs on the basis of strengthening primary health care, opening clinics 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Every clinic must have a doctor, and the community clinic has to be engaged not only with medication, but with public education around healthcare issues in relation to disease, in relation to food, how to eat, and all those things. And that particular model extends the lives of people and prevents disease. And then absolutely, in the end, the overburdenedness of the healthcare system gets resolved really by a powerful primary healthcare capability.
So that's what you propose as the EFF, you would structure this universal healthcare if you come into power?
Absolutely. We wouldn't allow a barrier that says you must first be registered. If you're not registered, you can't get access to health care. Two, there's nothing in relation to the strengthening of the primary healthcare system. You must have people prevent, you mustn't have people get sick, so you can take them to private, profit-driven institutions to make money out of them. They're going to loot the state, the private healthcare profiteers. They're going to loot the state with this thing. They are not above the corruption, barrier. So we wouldn't have done that. We would have removed those barriers on the one hand and pump a lot of money into the primary healthcare system that must be preventative of diseases.
Zandile, as the IFP,
Thank you, Clement. As the IFP, we do not disagree with the universal health care. But our problem with the NHI is that the management of it. We believe that everyone must get universal access to health care, but our problem is that how is it going to be managed? We've seen with the current government how it manages its funds. The corruption that is there. I mean, during COVID, the PPEs scandals that were coming in, and yet we want to give all the powers to the minister to then manage the processes of the NHI, which is not going to take place
in the next 6 months. We know that this thing is going to be enrolled, but South Africans and poor people in the informal settlements and townships are going to only feel this access to healthcare in the next coming 5 or 6 years, of which we don't agree with that. As the IFP was saying, let us fix our infrastructure. Chris Hani Baragwanath should be providing the NHI, the universal access. It should actually be in a state of a net care, so that each and every patient that goes to Chris Hani Baragwanath receives whatever the patient that goes to Lisedi Hospital. So it shouldn't be a dismantle that people who are in Baragwanath do not feel the same healthcare that Lisedi people are feeling. So as the IFP was saying, let us fix our infrastructure first. Let us not have patients that will not have beds. Let us have doctors that will be employed. Currently, we have doctors that are not in the system, that are unemployed, but they are graduates, they are doctors, they are here to help people of South Africa and poor people at that time. But why are they not being brought into the government so that they're able to provide that? So as the IFP was saying, we're going to take all the doctors and nurses that are unemployed currently, bring them into the system so that each and every patient can feel the health care that they need.
All right, Mike, the DA has already indicated that it will be taking this to court. On what basis are they doing that?
Well, the fact of the matter is that any decision that you take has to be a rational decision. And if it's going to be a rational decision, it's got to be affordable. And one of the things that we're going to be able to point out is that it's not affordable. There are obviously question marks in terms of the public participation process. All of these will feature in a wide-ranging affidavit that we'll put in. But I want to say that I agree totally with Zandile. I think that the one thing we can say as the DA is that we're in favor of universal health care. But NHI is not universal healthcare. Mr. Mdlozi used the words extraction. If there's any extraction, it's happening through the NHI. And I think that, one of the things that this government has shown, whatever you give it, it's going to collapse. You look at SAA, collapses. Transnet, Eskom, and now we want to give the hospitals, all of them, over to the government. Now, there is a lot of money being spent in our healthcare, and so it should be. But it's being misspent. And I think we need to address that. And I think the one thing I did agree with Mr. Mdlozi was the focus on primary health care. Let's do that. Let's get proper CEOs in our hospitals. Let's get our hospitals working. And then we can talk about this NHI thing some more. Because there's a lot we can do with the billions that are already being spent through your money into our existing hospitals, and those things we can expand as well.
And
Thank
that's
you.
about 200 billion rand or so. That's
Yes,
already been
indeed.
spent in the public health.
Indeed.
And
A lot of money.
That's a lot of money. But if you bring in the NHI, the health minister did say that they're looking at an additional 200 billion rand. So the question, Zwandile Masina, is: can South Africans trust you as the ANC with 400 billion rand plus, when we have seen in the past that money has been misspent, has been mismanaged, but also has been stolen by some of your comrades?
Look, if you look at the fiscus on an annual basis and over the past 8 years, you can tell that the ANC can be trusted. There's a number of things that we've been able to do in the main. And amongst those things that the ANC...
Okay. All right, guys, let's give him the opportunity. They don't believe you, Mr. Masina. Let's give him the opportunity to conclude. Guys. Oh, all right. You can respond, but let's also give them the opportunity to respond. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah.
I want to say, for instance, in the health sector, if you use it as an example, we've built over 15,000 clinics and about 50 hospitals. And there aren't a lot of instances of corruption and so on and so on. So I'm saying that in the bigger scheme of things, the 400 billion for NHI compared to what the ANC government is managing in the national government, in the provincial government and municipalities where the ANC is in control, is trillions of rands, which continues to provide different services. We've built over 5 million houses and we continue to build schools in South Africa. We are building universities. All those things have been possible over the past 8 years in terms of the track record of the African National Congress.
Yeah.
So I am not surprised because we are a few days before the elections, so everyone must try and end some points here. But the reality is that the ANC-led government has been able to lay out infrastructure in South Africa extensively. The road, rail infrastructure, the hospitals, the schools, the universities. We've been building bridges and so on and so on. There is a lot of infrastructure that the ANC has been able to manage to build. So I think that it will be a misnomer for anybody to think that 400 billion in the hands of the ANC will amount to corruption. But also there was a question that was raised here about what is the ANC doing specifically with regard to dealing with issues of corruption where there have been instances. The ANC is implementing a Zondo Commission report and dealing with every individual who is affected in the Zondo Commission's report. So we have no doubt that some of the cases will soon be going to courts. The law enforcement agencies are doing everything possible to ensure that there is prosecution on the wrongdoings.
Including Zizi Kodwa's case?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to speak about individuals. I want to say that everyone who has been mentioned and for wrongdoings, the law enforcement agencies supported by the African National Congress are going to ensure that we're able to deal with those issues.
All right, before we get to the issue of immigration and the township economy, just clarity on the timing, because there's an impression being created, and I said this to the president yesterday, Mzwandile, that this NHI is somehow going to be the fixer after the 29th of May. But the reality here is that it's going to be implemented gradually and in phases. But there are some ANC leaders who are creating an impression for politicking reasons that vote for us because after the elections, you're going to be able to actually have access to this kind of quality healthcare. Can you clarify to the residents in Soweto that that's actually not the case? This reality is probably going to be seen probably in about 6, if you are lucky, because this is still going to go through the courts.
Look, the starting point with any policy in government is that we've got to prepare. A lot of work has been done to prepare for NHI. For instance, the Department of Health has been building a lot of community health centers across the country to ensure that at the point of rolling out, we are ready. But obviously, I think this is going to be a phase-in approach over the next 4 to 6 years to ensure that everybody is. I was saying to the colleagues here, Comrade Ndlozi, that like anything, no, we can't make the point that is being made by the EFF to say to register is a hindrance, because you can imagine already in the health institutions currently, we have a lot of people who are receiving services, and the very same community of South Africans are complaining. So if the NHI is a free-for-all, it's going to be problematic. It will be important to ensure that every person or every citizen gets to register so that we know who are the people who have, and it's not going to discriminate on the basis whether you have a job or you don't have a job.
Yeah.
We are going to ensure that all South Africans are registered in the system, and they can then get to benefit on
Clement, every child that is born in a hospital. Why don't you know your children? Why don't you know the South African citizens? Why must they register? Because every child that is born has a birth certificate. Why must they re-register? That's a barrier. Because if I'm 12 years old, I get in an accident, why must I first register for NHI before I get... You already know me. I was born in your hospital. I'm in a schooling system. I'm on a child grant. There are so many registrations, including just being born. You tell me I'm a South African, I'm not a South African, I'm a female, you even know that I'm Zulu or not. So which registration? Universal access to healthcare means when I have a problem, I go to a health institution and I get helped regardless of how much I have in my pocket, regardless of the color of my skin. That's what it means. Let's stop playing games.
What Dr. Ndlozi is saying, questions were being raised here. Just take an example of the spaza shops that are run by foreign nationals. There is a major issue, there's a major complaint here. Many other parties are having different policy position with regard to foreign nationals. One of the constraints in the health institutions currently is that you have a lot of people who cross borders to come and access health services here. It's important. It will be important that we prioritize South Africans in ensuring that they become the first beneficiaries of the NHI.
Yeah, but
so I don't think it's an unreasonable request.
Dr. Ndlozi, how do you respond to that? The issue around foreign nationals, and how do you then differentiate between the people who are supposed to be prioritized with this system and the people that may come here that may not have the necessary papers to access some of the services that are, according to the NHI, are only reserved for South Africans or people with legitimate documentation?
I know that Mzandile goes to Dubai a lot. When you are in Dubai and you get in the... When you are in Dubai, I'm giving you an example. When you are in Dubai, you are a foreigner there, and then you get in an accident, you must be helped. Universal access to healthcare. That's what it means. It's a human right. The difference here is the question of documentation. It's not foreigner and non-foreigner. You should know who are the foreigners. If you've got your systems in place that are documented.
And we don't have our
But here's the problem. We are talking NHI. I'm going to address the question of immigration in a moment. I don't want to belong in a country where a person that is dying cannot get help because they are a foreigner. I don't know that I want that face of inhumanity. I don't believe in that. But you know who are the South Africans because they are born in your hospitals. He can't deny that. You know, you've got them in the system. When they go to crash, they register. When they go to primary school, they register. Everywhere, you know who they are. Why are you saying they must register first before they get health care?
Yeah, Dr. Joseph. But I hear that. But the reality is, we live in a country where Home Affairs to this day cannot tell us how many illegal immigrants we have. So how do you... I could be an illegal immigrant in South Africa who has deliberately come here to do whatever, and I get into a private hospital. How do they know whether or not I should be having access to the kind of services
Clement,
that the NHI should produce?
Let's not waste time on self-answering questions. You have a record of South Africans. So if I'm not on the record of South Africans, who am I? Do you understand what I mean? That's number one. So you cannot use that. You cannot use that as an excuse in the act that people must first register for NHI in order for them to get access to healthcare because you are scared someone from Zimbabwe might enter the hospital. You know who are the South Africans because they were born in your hospitals. You know who are the record of South Africans you have. If you've got an integrated, intelligible government that does its job with the billions and the trillions that it has, you've got the record of who the South Africans are, and you must service them. You don't have any excuse.
But can I just
quickly, and then Zani.
You know, I really think that we are hampering on the non-points as far as I'm concerned because, you know, Dr. Ndlozi knows probably is the highest educated person here in this room, right? Even when he was going for his PhD, he had to register because it's not that they don't know that he was studying at VETS. At any given time, you've got to put systems in place so that you know exactly who you're dealing with. So there is nothing wrong.
All right.
There is
Zandile, quickly.
nothing wrong
Yeah.
to register for the NHI.
Just quickly, and then we'll go into township
Yes.
economy.
No, Clement, in terms of building, I hear that Mzwandile is speaking of ANC building hospitals and clinics. Just here in White City, Jabavu, residents of White City, Jabavu came to us and said, the people who are working in the clinic are selling medication. We go to that clinic, we cannot find medication, we cannot be serviced well. So once you cannot fix the system itself, then you are failing. And I think for some part, I agree with Dr. Ndlozi that there's Stats SA. Clement?
Yes, go
There's
ahead.
Stats SA, which is done almost every term.
Yeah.
So that Stats SA, it tells them how many people they have because it counts per each household all the time. So it tells them that you've got 7 adults here, you've got 2 pensioners, you've got 3 kids, you've got what. They cannot use that. They cannot then bring regulations and red tapes for people to access the healthcare because they know they want to mismanage these funds that are going to go to
All right.
the nation.
Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick... Thank you very much. We're going to take a quick ad break. When we come back, I want us to talk about the issue of spaza shops. The community has already raised issues of kids that are dying when they eat sometimes food that is poisoned, that is often purchased from the spaza shop. So what are the proposed solutions to also deal with the issue of immigration? We'll also hear from some of the parties that are represented here before we bring them on stage later on. It's a minute now before 10 o'clock.
This advert is paid for by the political party concerned.
For the first time in 30 years, the ANC government will lose its majority. Opposition parties have united as the multi-party charter for South Africa.
A strong democratic alliance with a proven track record
Can anchor a new government that serves the people.
But a new government that works is only possible if you vote for it. Let's unite and rescue South Africa. Vote DA.
This advert was paid for by the political party concerned.
Get affordable car insurance and do more with the money you could save every month. 69-year-old Vivian can afford to treat herself more now that she pays an awesome car insurance premium of only 749 Rand per month to insure her grade 2024 Suzuki Jimny 85DR. So, do you want more? SMS out to 45142 to get a quote. That's out to 45142 now. Licensed insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Just like your last breakup, commitment is messy. Leave the chaos behind and find something new to hold on to with Rentosa. Discover subscriptions on tech, appliances, and more that will make your heart go bum, bum, bum. No red flags here, only green flags like month-to-month payments, 0 penalty fees, and the flexibility to upgrade or downgrade whenever. Not feeling the connection? No ghosting needed. Simply return it for something new that'll give you that spark you're looking for. Commitment is messy. Just Rentosa it. Download the app, visit the website, and join our WhatsApp channel.
This is Eyewitness News.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. The EFF in Gauteng is calling on retail giant Shoprite to take accountability following the death of a 33-year-old man at its store in Ratanda in the south of Johannesburg. The man, who has been identified as Bandile Shabalala, was allegedly locked in a cold room at the store overnight for shoplifting. Police, however, say information at their disposal indicates that Shabalala was locked at the back of the store and not inside a cold room. The EFF says Shoprite should compensate Shabalala's family because its employees took the law into their own hands. Spokesperson Tumsani Baleni.
While the EFF does not condone the theft or lawlessness, there is absolutely no justification for the management of Shoprite to take the law into their own hands by detaining a human being in a cold freezer for hours, leading to his untimely death.
2 more suspects have been arrested in connection with the murder of 5-year-old Ditebogo Junior Palani. The little boy was shot during a hijacking in Soshanguve this month. The Hawks say the pair was arrested yesterday following information about their whereabouts. This brings the total number of suspects arrested in connection with the murder to 4. The latest suspects are expected to appear in the Pretoria Magistrates Court tomorrow. Hawks spokesperson Wendy Ngabi.
2 unlicensed firearms were recovered. One of the firearms is alleged to be a murder weapon used in the murder of Ditebogo Palani, but that will be confirmed once the firearm has been sent to testing.
To this story now, after decades of living in poor conditions at the Kloof hostel in Soweto, residents say they are beginning to see progress in the renovation of the area. A small portion of the hostel is currently undergoing refurbishment, while most households now have access to electricity after years of relying on illegal connections. Last year saw several demonstrations by community members with protests over service delivery. Residents have told Eyewitness News that while there is progress, dozens of dwellers are still living in squalor. Alpha Ramushwana visited the hostel ahead of today's election town hall, which is currently underway.
When Eyewitness News visited the Kloof hostel, we were greeted by the sight of children joyfully playing around a pile of uncollected refuse. Shattered windows, gaping cracks in the walls, and collapsing roofs were hard to miss as we went deeper into the hostel. Despite these poor living conditions, hostel leader Sabelo Msibi says the little progress is bringing hope to the community.
This is the second week is with the renovation new units. After that, we'll go for demolition.
But he says if the city of Joburg defaults on its promises, they will not hesitate to burn tires again.
If they start their games, duck and dive, Chris Road is our friend. We'll meet them there.
He says residents at the hostel have barely seen any service delivery in the past few years. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Soweto.
A fisherman has died after a snook fishing boat capsized in the vicinity of Shelley Point on the west coast. The National Sea Rescue Institute says Shelley Point security raised the alarm at around 4 p.m. yesterday. It's been reported that 4 local fishermen were on the boat when it capsized at the Backline Breakers. The NSRI's Craig Lambanon says 2 fishermen survived while a 4th man remains missing.
2 survivors, both local adult males, were treated on the scene by paramedics for non-fatal drowning symptoms and injuries. A search commenced for 1 missing man. Despite an extensive sea and shoreline search, there remains no signs of the missing man. The police, water policing and diving services were activated. Police divers are continuing an ongoing search for the missing man.
And in Japan, a local town has started the process of erecting a large mesh barrier at a popular viewing spot for Mount Fuji. The move is aimed at deterring tourists from taking photos of the site. Locals of Fuji Kawaguchiko are fed up with what they say are streams of visitors breaking the rules for a picture. Tourists are accused of littering, trespassing and breaking traffic rules in their hunt for a photo of Japan's most famous site. Officials say they tried other methods such as signs urging visitors not to run into the road and to use the designated crosswalk, and even hiring a security guard, but nothing else has worked. Gold is trading at $2,414.03 an ounce. The rand is at 18.21 to the dollar, 23.14 to the pound, 19.77 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $83.71 a barrel.
Boysons heading towards the Joburg CBD, slow-moving traffic on the M1 northbound between Boysons Road and the Crown Interchange, while in Edenvale, if you are heading towards Bedford View, Germiston area, there's an accident scene on the N3 southbound before Linksfield Road, causing more than a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road. And in Bramley, traffic sluggish on the M1 south between Greyston and Corlett.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng today. Temperatures peaking at highs of between 24 and 27 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News, the EFF in Gauteng is calling on retail giant Shoprite to take accountability following the death of a 33-year-old man at its store in Rathanda.
Eyewitness News. In touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or the new EWN app. Everything you need to know about elections 2024 on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Covering the issues that matter to you.
It's the Clement Manyathela Show.
Live from Soweto on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 8 minutes after 10 o'clock. Dumelang. Welcome to the special broadcast of the Clement Manyathela Show. We are live from Soweto this morning in Kloof. We're at the Kloof Multi-Purpose Center. As you can hear in the background, political party members singing as we have just concluded the first hour of the last 702 elections town hall. We are now into the second hour. We are going to be bringing in other political parties later on stage. Action SA is here, Bossa is here, Rise Mzansi is here, Shiluva is here. You've got the MK party here. There are other political parties that are represented. And I want to encourage you to also, if you've got a question for the political parties that are here, please be free to, there is someone there, Sinazo and Sidi, who've got a mic. So you can, as leaders of political parties, also pose a question or give an input before your time even comes later on. I want us to get into the issue of the township economy, and I'll start with you, Dr. Ndlozi. You heard what Umama said. In fact, there's a young man here who's a graduate, who's unemployed, who's asking about how that township economy can work for them. How are you proposing as a solution to deal with, one, the issue of spaza shops that are mostly dominated sometimes by foreign nationals, and where communities sometimes feel the opportunity is taken away from them? And how do we fix that so that that somehow leads into fixing the issue of unemployment in our communities?
There is obviously two conceptual problems. The first one is township economy. A township is a special development of the apartheid regime to keep people, black people, outside of the terrain of the main demand and supply that constitute the economy. In townships, they live in overcrowded areas on top of each other, areas that are often impossible, by the way, to service because of landlessness and so on and so forth. We don't believe. We believe that you've got to disarticulate a spatial geography called the township. There must be one economy, and the activities of that economy must benefit our people. I'll come back to that. The second misconception is to confuse non-regulation of trade, non-regulation of spaza shops, to be a problem of foreigners. Even if those foreign nationals, you were to document them, the failure to regulate is the failure of government. The spaza shops in Soweto are not owning the land. They are not owning the places where they are selling. They are paying rent to the people of Soweto. Ukoko une garage, hires the garage out, takes rent from the person that is operating in there, mixes that rent together nomdende wakhe to make a living. Government's role is to regulate. You've got to regulate what is being sold there if it is not expired. And that's not just about those spaza shops. It's about all the shops. It's about Spare. You should go to the villages. Some of the big brands that are selling in the distant villages in South Africa are not regulated. That's how you're going to avoid the situation of bad food or poisonous food that is happening there. But what I cannot lie about, I'm not here to mislead our people. As South Africans, we must be honest. As a Pakistan, you can't leave Pakistan, take a garage yomuntu by force in Soweto. These are tenants. All of those foreign national spaza shops, they're paying rent in Soweto. It's a business. It's a business opportunity for the people of Soweto themselves. How do you deal with an economy? The South African problem of unemployment is chronic. Unemployment has been part of the South African reality since the late 1980s. Two, is because there's been deindustrialization and over-financialization of the South African economy. There are no factories. I mean, this joke of Panyaza, of Nancy Spani. You know what is that? Nancy Spani is like the food parcels, Mzwandile, that you used to distribute there when you were a mayor during elections. After elections, they are gone.
Stop gossip.
All those jobs, all those jobs, it's not gossip, it's fact. All those jobs are going to disappear before the end of the year because they are not jobs. What and how are we going to create jobs, Clement? Two things. One, we've got to build internal state capacity to deliver the state services. Do away with the tenders. Insource the workers. The people who build roads must be employed on a full-term contract. They must build and maintain roads. Initiate mega infrastructure projects through, for an example, build, operate, and transfer contracts that you can enter with countries like China, Russia, even the Europeans. Secondly, import substitution. As early as the 1800s, the United States historically was not always the most powerful economy in the world. You can go check the economic history of the US. The basic policy that allowed them to overtake Europe is what they called protection of infant industries. You've got to literally say, the following products we can produce locally. And I give an example with one product. All the plastic products in South Africa, why are they produced from China? Because in the process of turning coal into petrol, Sasol has a byproduct of plastic. That plastic goes into Europe, goes into Indonesia, goes into China, comes back as a chair, as fork and knife, as Tupperware. Yeah. You've got to implement import substitution, protect infant industries in the plastic sector, open the factories for the goods that we are consuming in the economy. That's how you're going to create jobs. And those jobs, South Africans, let us not allow to be kitchened into the township. All of South Africa's economy belongs to all of us.
Zandile, issue of spaza shops and unemployment.
As the IFP, Clement, we are going to enforce an 80-20 rule. 80% of the jobs should be reserved for South Africans. 20% it should be maybe for scarce skills. The skills that we do not have here, and then we provide that maybe people from other countries can then come and provide those skills. But in terms of these spaza shops, what happened is that the government killed the small businesses in townships and the local businesses in townships. How so? We've got economic development in the municipality that has a director that knows that there are spaza shops that should be benefiting from that economic development. But the stringence of having red tapes for these spaza shops to be able to function, it's a serious problem. Secondly, allowing whether it's illegal foreigners to come and migrate straight into townships, it's a serious problem. Because now these spaza shops that are owned by Somalians and so forth, these people do not even contribute towards the checks or the GDP of South Africa. So we cannot allow that to happen as South Africans. And also, you remove all the stringent red tapes of the SMMEs so that spaza shops, people of South Africa are able to maintain and continue with their spaza shops in their own local and townships areas. That is what we are saying as the IFP. But we reserve jobs for South Africans, which is 80%. There's no need for us to have, in hospitality, you don't need a waitress from a foreign country to come here and become a waitress. You have South Africans who can do that. In logistics, you've got truck drivers and so forth. You don't need someone from another country to come into South Africa in order for them to drive those trucks that will be delivering products and goods into other provinces. So we must reserve those entry-level jobs and make sure that South Africans are put forward first for the first time in South Africa.
Mike, your solutions?
Yeah, look, interesting debates, and with interesting debates, it's interesting how I can pick out certain of the things that I agree with from Dr. Ndlozi. I don't agree that new regulations are required. We do have a failure of law and order. That's where I agree with him. We need to have the existing regulations applied. That's what needs to happen, and then you can deal with the expired products and anybody that happens to be here illegally. You just apply the current law. But you actually need greater investment into the country to make a meaningful dent on the unemployment. And in order to have greater investment, you've got to have consistency of supply. What you need is a better electricity supply. We don't have that with the Eskom situation. You have to have better policies that people then can consider that if they do invest, the investment is not going to get stolen. So where do you look in South Africa and see where there is employment happening, and why is it happening there and nowhere else? In the places where the DA governs, there is less unemployment. And the reason for that is that there is better policy decisions, better service delivery, and those things come together. Now, there are examples of where we have succeeded as a country. In the motor industry, we've done very well in terms of exporting cars. We've got to learn from that. But now, the problem we have is that the very same ANC government that seemed to have a solution in one area doesn't have solutions in other areas, and you've got to ask why. I mean, it's interesting, the ANC's slogan. It actually says our country's problem in a slogan. We have less than what we've done. The ANC has done less than what they should have, and they're unable to do it by themselves. What we've got to realize is that we need the whole of society to come together to solve South Africa's problems. And in that regard, when you look at the mining industry, there are great opportunities, and that's just one economic sector. But the problem there, it is bedeviled by the corruption that has gotten into the regulatory frameworks, which is what Dr. Ndlozi mentions, but they've been corrupted. We've got to undo that corruption, and we've got to have the situation where the policies make sense for anybody to come in to invest. It's one thing to say, well, look, you need state-owned companies, which is what Dr. Ndlozi says. They don't work. They haven't worked in Venezuela, where there's ruination of their economy, and Dr. Ndlozi wants to bring it here. We need to find solutions that do work, and you do find them around the world, places like Singapore and other plales. Thank you.
I'll give you an opportunity to respond later on, Dr. Ndlozi. Tsiri, I'm going to come to you in a moment. I just want to give Mzwandile Masina, and then you can bring in some of the political parties. Mzwandile, also an opportunity to respond on the township economy and also the issue of unemployment. And maybe you can directly respond to the comment about Nasi Span.
No, thank you very much. I think, firstly, I would like to say that the ANC-led government is now strengthening border management. There's a new agency that has come to play to ensure that our borders are much more tighter. And why this is critical is because we have to differentiate between illegal immigrants and immigrants who are coming into the country legally, because we've got to deal with that problem. The second thing is that at the level of spaza shops, there are initiatives that the Department of Small Business is already working on to ensure that we can bring back and reintroduce. Because if you remember, at the time when we were growing up, many of the general dealers and shops were literally owned by South Africans. And we do believe that a lot can be done through government support, which is why the Department of Small Business, including its agencies, are already working on strategies to give support.
Can we please give him an opportunity to respond?
So the Department of Small Business and all the agencies are beginning to give support to ensure that we can support local businesses. Now, we are discouraging those who are asylum seekers to be operating spaza shops. We are saying that we should allow people who have come into the country legally, if they have to participate in the mainstream economy, they can do so. But those that have come for other things, they must also respect the laws of the country. So that's the differentiator of the ANC with regards to those issues. With regards to jobs, if you look at the first two priorities of the ANC manifesto, the first one is about creating 2.5 million jobs in the main. And that scientifically is possible. If you look at what happened between 1993 and last year, the number of jobs that were created have doubled. However, the population have doubled. If you go and check statistics, in 1993, 8 million South Africans were working. Today, 16.7 million South Africans are working. However, the population has also doubled from 32 million to 62 million. Now, when we say in the manifesto of the ANC, we are going to create 2.5 million jobs, where will those jobs come from? 3 areas of focus that, if they can bear to listen. 3 areas of focus that the ANC has conceptualized in the manifesto, where we think jobs are going to come from in the main. Firstly, we've got to industrialize our economy and ensure that we create sustainable firms, of which majority of them must be run by South Africans. Secondly, support small business in South Africa. And thirdly, ramp up this work opportunity that is coming at the level of government through extended public works and so on and so on. We believe that those 3 mechanisms will assist us to create a number of required jobs in the country over and above that which is being done by private sector in the main. Those are the areas of work that are
over to you, Tsidi.
Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you, guys. So that's the word from the established political parties. On the floor, we have a lot of the newcomers who are participating in the national and provincial elections for the first time. I know already, Herman, I heard you. I saw you flickering when you heard about spaza shops. I'm going to give you an opportunity to speak.
Guys, please, can we give them an opportunity to speak?
Clement raised the issue of spaza shops in our community, and I think listening to the participants, they're taking this as an academic issue. I know some of us are not intelligent enough, but to solve our country's problems, to really get our economy to be run by our own people, not allow terrorist organizations run businesses in our communities. We must for us as Section SA, we are clear about this particular matter. When we have 12 million of our own people unemployed, we are not going to allow our country to, countries that have failed to outsource their problems to us. Spaza shops and supermarkets in our communities must be run 100% by South Africans.
Okay, thank you so much, Herman. There are other leaders here. I'm going to give them a chance to speak. We also have the Umkhonto Caesar Party joining us. Good morning.
Good morning.
Please, can we take it down, guys? Please, let's give each other... we're going to be opening the floor in the next couple of minutes. So if you're feeling strongly about something, you want to challenge what they've said, or you want to ask them a question, we're going to be opening the floor in a minute. We'll tell you now. But also, Abu Haman and other parties will have an opportunity to sit here so you can also engage them. So if you're feeling strongly, we'll give you an opportunity to express that. Just let's give our guests an opportunity to also speak and communicate their message. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Bafana Mahlabe, a.k.a. Komisa Lookout Mabaso, the provincial spokesperson of MK in Gauteng. Now, I just want to speak to the issue of spaza shops and the economy. because we believe that we as South Africans, we should not glorify apartheid that has brought us to where we are. We know for a fact that historically speaking, townships were not a first choice of Africans. Townships, it was something that was imposed on us by the then apartheid government. Now we cannot glorify the township environment through concepts such as township economy. We want to participate in the mainstream economy. We do not want to participate in the substandard economy. Number two, I want to pose a direct question to the ruling party. My question is, in which part of South Africa do you live? Because you can't be promising 2.5 million jobs, whereas you can't be promising 2.5 million jobs, whereas as we speak, unemployment rate has risen to 32%. Secondly, South African Post Services is shedding jobs. Almost 6,000 people are going to be retrenched as we speak. More than 200 post offices are going to be closed in this country. So how can you say you are going to create jobs when you are shedding jobs?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I know that Bosa also has a view. Guys, let's give Nobuntu a chance to be heard.
Thank you so much, Sidi. I just want to respond to this issue of glorifying township economy. The reality is that 11.6 million South Africans live in the township. If for any reason it has been substandard or has been a sub-quality type of economy, it's because the ANC government has not implemented the plans that they've had to build the township economy. With people who live in townships, what we need to have is the kind of vision and the kind of political will to build world-class businesses so that we can work where we live, so that we are able to earn where we live, and that we can have healthy and good and healthy lives within the townships that we live in. We can't say we can leave it up to mainstream economy to create jobs. We cannot absorb the level of unemployment we have if we wait for that. We need to upgrade township economy. We need to have the vision to build world-class businesses in the townships and have people living where they work.
Thank you so much, Lubuntu. I believe Songeza's point has been made. Bongani, I don't know if you also want to come in very quickly. Here's Bongani from Shuluva.
Thank you so much. I think the first point to make is a simple observation that the ANC does not have a healthy relationship with the truth. If you just do a basic assessment of where we are in this thing called township economy, it does not exist because what we call a township economy is a last part of beneficiation. It's just a consumer aspect part. We don't produce any goods here. We don't produce anything that goes out to the world. We just want to talk about township economy from spaza shops. So what you need is an economy in Soweto which is producing, making goods that can be imported to other parts world, because then we're talking about township economy. Which part of a spaza shop is linked to a municipal procurement? This thing does not make sense. So we should be talking about businesses that are directly involved in the municipal procurement, not just a spaza shop.
Thank you so much. That's Bongani from Shuluva, and with that, Clement, I go back to you.
All right, we're gonna take the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, the producers will start facilitating some of you that have got questions for these leaders before we let them go. Whatever you felt strongly about that you want to challenge, what you want to, an input you have or the question you have for any of them, please prepare that. We'll get into that in the next 3 minutes or so. It's exactly 10:31. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Mbali, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. A very good morning. Some elderly residents in Soweto have slammed the ANC-led government over its handling of youth unemployment. They have been raising frustrations to political leaders present at 702's final election town hall today at the Kloof Multipurpose Centre this morning. The community members say unemployment amongst young people is one of the causes of crime in the township. ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says he is confident of coming back for another term as head of state. Ramaphosa has been the country's #1 citizen since February 2018 after Jacob Zuma resigned. The president says while his time in office has been difficult due to factors including the COVID-19 pandemic, there has also been progress that has been made. And the Judicial Service Commission is currently interviewing Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya for the position of Chief Justice. The incumbent, Raymond Zondo, will be retiring in August. President Ramaphosa put forward Maya as the sole nominee for the position in February. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at 11 or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
In Edenvale, we still have that accident seen on the N3 southbound before Linksfield Road, causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from London Road. Boysons travelling towards the Joburg CBD. Traffic sluggish. This is on the M1 northbound between Boysons and the Crown Interchange. While in Bramley, slow-moving traffic on the M1 southbound. This is heading towards the Joburg CBD coming from the Sandton area. Between Greyston and Corlett, look out for those faulty traffic lights in Rivonia at Witkoppen and Rivonia Road, as well as in Centurion at John Foster and the N1. I'll have your next Eyewitness News traffic update just after 11.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays
12 to 1.
On the Midday Report, every day from 12 to 1 p.m, we will bring you breaking news from the scene as it unfolds with newsmakers, reporters, commentators, experts and analysts. We'll explain the stories of the day, give you context for why they are important and what they mean for you. It is everything you need to know in 1 hour. From news to global events, business, sports, science, books and always some good news too. Appointment listening every day at 12 with the Midday Report.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
This advert is paid for by the political party concerned.
Fathers in South Africa now have the right to paternal leave that helps them form a stronger bond with their newborn child. This is thanks to the first private members' bill to be passed in Parliament by a member of the African Christian Democratic Party. Our 30-year track record in defending your Christian values, family values, and freedoms speaks for itself. So vote wisely to keep defending the values you hold dear. Vote ACDP.
This advert was paid for by the political party concerned.
Every time you order a Spur Kids burger, R1 is donated to the Spur Full Tummy Fund to help feed young children at under-resourced daycare centers. Spur Full Tummy Fund currently funds more than 400,000 meals per year. This World Hunger Day, we're aiming to add an additional 200,000 meals to that tally by partnering with Rise Against Hunger on 3 meal packing events. Visit the Spur Steak Ranch's Facebook page for more information and to sign up to help pack.
Hi there. I am Amahle, a stem cell donor. What started out as curiosity turned into an opportunity for me to save a life. Naturally, I was taken aback when I was found to be a match for a patient in need. In South Africa, over 4,000 people die of blood cancer each year. I donated stem cells and I was able to give someone else a second chance at life. Register to become a stem cell donor at kmsafrica.org. So you too can be a lifesaver.
This is not an insurance ad. Insurance without the noise. Pineapple.co.za. Underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
Any person aggrieved by any political advertisement that is broadcast by 702 may lodge a complaint within 5 days of broadcast with the Independent Communications Authority of South Africa, ICASA. To lodge your complaint, please contact ICASA's Compliance Department via telephone on 012-568-3233. That's 012-568-3233. Or email broadcastingcompliance@icasa.org.za. That's broadcastingcompliance@icasa.org.za. Or complaintsccc@icasa.org.za. That's complaintsccc@icasa.org.za.
In the last 24 hours, what happened in your world?
Mr. President, welcome to Prime Media House.
Good to be here.
Mr. President, I actually just want to pick up from right there where you just heard the breaking news. The Constitutional Court has finally ruled on this particular matter about your predecessor and whether or not he can return to Parliament. Let's first speak about your reaction to the news.
I'm not concerned about this instigating violence. President Jacob Zuma should be the one person who should respect the rule of law. We have rule of law in South Africa that governs us. Once a constitutional court has decided, that is it.
24 hours a day. Eyewitness news. In touch, in tune, and independent. The conversation continues
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
Coming to you live
From Soweto, 702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
All right, it's 22 minutes before 11 o'clock. We're going to be wrapping up soon with the representatives of the ANC, the EFF, the IFP, and the DA in a moment. But before that, they'll have to get some questions and inputs from some of the community members here with us. I want to give you an opportunity to tell South Africans listening to us who are also watching now, ANC, please can we come down a little bit? ANC, is that the MK? ANC, please can you, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Just tell the ANC we're here for a debate. Debate is not idols.
Thank you guys. So I want to give all four of you just an opportunity to say to South Africans what your selling point is. There were other issues we've not touched on around service delivery, whether it's water, whether it's electricity, the issue of crime, the issue of immigration as well. I don't think we sufficiently touched on that. We'll start with you, Dr. Ndlozi, just to touch on those issues and what is important for the EFF as people consider whether or not to trust you with their vote.
Well, I'm completely flabbergasted by the hypocrisy of Herman Mashaba. Herman Mashaba spends 100% of his time convincing us of less than 2% of South Africa's economy. Less than 2%. We must take the spaza shops. Why don't we take your Oppenheimer's mines? That's where the economy is. Why don't you have the same balls when it comes to the major industrial hubs of South Africa? You know why? It's because firstly they are white owned and they are his funders. We must press amongst each other, fighting from the cramps that fall from the master's table. We're not going to join that table. We want the mainstream. The history of the township starts with the dispossession of the land to do business, the land to mine, the land to farm, the land for human settlement. I'm completely shocked. And I think it's important for that particular rhetoric to be exposed for what it is. You are not mobilizing us for the economy. You're not mobilizing us for the banks, for the financial muscle that is privatized and circulating only amongst the minority in the population. We want the real economy, and let me tell you, since 1955, the people of this country have always known that it's about the banks, it's about the mines. Do you know, Clement, the biggest zamazamas in this country are the Oppenheimers. Go look at the gold that they've looted in Carltonville. Left a damaged environmental area with dolomitic areas. People have sinkholes. It's a dead town. Go to Velcom, go to Kimberley. What a shameful family. And to take their money is to take blood money. Money that has been denied majority of the South Africans from their natural wealth. The final point. I'm shocked, you know, the DA men here. the DA man here, is old enough. He's old enough to have grown under apartheid. Apartheid was a government of parastatals, my brother. The Afrikaner population in the 1930s accounted for less than 7% of the GDP. They were so niggerized. They were the poorest whites in the world. They were an embarrassment to the white supremacist culture. Apartheid took over. You must study your history. Through parastatals, through state-owned entities. Forget Venezuela, it's your only lazy intellectual example. Let's talk apartheid that uplifted white people in this country. They were uplifted through parastatals, Transnet, Sasol, ISCO, you name them. That when you saw that you are about to lose power, you then privatized them. But forget Venezuela for a while. Let's do, don't be anti-academic like Herman. We are very proud of our degrees. We got them working very hard. What is the world economic history? What is the world economic history? After World War II, Europe's public infrastructure was devastated. How did you rebuild Europe? State parastatals. China is the fastest growing economy in the world today and the largest economy in the world today. Same as Vietnam, those are communist countries.
Okay.
Have the decency for intellectual honesty. Neoliberalism doesn't work. You are governing Tshwane. There is no employment in Tshwane. Water has collapsed. Services have collapsed because majority of the population there maybe is black. I don't know.
Thank you
You
very
are a
much,
failure as the DA.
Zandile,
No, Clement, thank you very much.
thank you guys. Let's give the IFP a chance.
There were quite a number of issues that were raised. And residents of Soweto also raised the concerns of crime. As the IFP, we believe in the decentralization of resources. Crime should be decentralized in a manner that resources that are supposed to deal with law enforcement should be in municipalities and provinces, so that provinces and municipalities are able to deal with their situations on merits. Why we are saying that, you go to Moroka police station, you want to report a case, you are told there's no van, so you don't get that service. So what we are saying is, if municipalities are given a budget from national, to say, provinces, this is your budget, give to municipalities. Municipalities, this is your budget. Then go do your own insourcing. Insource a lot of police men in blue, and also make sure that where you do not have police stations, at least you've got mobile police stations where you focus on the issues of crime. There's issues of drug abuse in these townships, in Soweto specifically, and young people are affected mostly about those things. You need to have specialized forces to deal with the drug lords, to take them out of the townships, so that you have young people who will be able to contribute towards the future of South Africa. And also there were issues of housing. There's I forgot the name, I'm sorry, the guy who was here, who spoke of the places that he visited. And he also spoke that Kloof Hostel did not have electricity for a long time. When the MMC Councillor Mlungisi Mabaso came in 2019, that is when Kloof Hostel was able to get electricity. The reblocking in Kliptown, it was done by the MMC for Inkatha Freedom Party, who is Mlungisi Mabaso. That he did the reblocking because it was clustered in one, but the other side was not used. He managed to reblock those. Dobsonville flats, which were built by Joshko, by the way, are subsidized, and people are able to rent there. Money was looted by the municipality, and we babysitted that project up until it was done, and people were allocated in the flats, because we must acknowledge that the current government, Clement, what they did, the system itself is corrupted. Officials are corrupted. So in the RDP houses that people were allocated in, There are people who were allocated in those houses who are not supposed to get those houses. Currently in those houses, you've got illegal people who are allocated in those houses because of they could bribe the officials. So people of Soweto were robbed of their houses, and the IFP came in, but then we had a limited time. We couldn't continue with our program at that time. And also there was issue of graduates that are unemployed and so forth. As the IFP, we are saying we are going to enroll the graduates grant fund, but for a period of time. It is going to be 3,000. Why 3,000, Clement? We are giving you an opportunity for you to be able to access data, as we know that data costs are very high in South Africa, and there is no mitigation with the big companies of Vodacom and MTN to make sure that they lower the cost of data. And so we are going to provide them with that so that they've got transport fare to go to those interviews, so that they are able to register their own companies that they want. But after registering with that 3,000, they should be able to be helped by the government itself. So I wanted to address those issues that give us an opportunity as the IFP, partner with us, trust us, because we are here to serve you. We've got representatives that are servants of the people, and they live and subscribe on the Ubuntu Butu.
Yeah, thank you. Mike?
Clement, the situation in South Africa doesn't have to be repeated by me. Everybody knows that the country is going in the wrong direction. People are living in fear of violent crime. There's rampant unemployment, as we've seen with the latest statistics, the worst in the ever trend. 70% of our youth are unemployed. It's got to change. So our focus is definitely on unemployment. What you have to do there is to look for solutions that have worked elsewhere and then apply them here. Now, it's interesting to listen to Dr. Ndlozi. He wants to be selective about where he's going to pick his examples. And I find it extraordinary that he picks an example of apartheid South Africa that put everybody in slavery. This is the Dr. Ndlozi who wants to use that as an example. But he runs away from Venezuela because he doesn't want to go there. But here's the thing. In terms of our unemployment plan, where we want to get people into jobs, we want to boost investment into the economy, we want to improve the education of every single person that lives in South Africa, give them a decent education, not the situation where in education in South Africa, there are a large group of people that cannot read for meeting, and when they leave school, they cannot get jobs. So that has to change. We live in a situation where people live in fear of violent crime. We need to change things in law and order. We need to improve the management of the police. We need to devolve the functioning of the police to provincial and lower levels. We need to address corruption. If we address corruption, you'll free up a lot more money. Our problem in South Africa is that politicians steal your money, and that has to change. People need to go to jail for stealing money. So that's the way you will end corruption. We want to end load shedding and water shedding, then because through proper services that are reliable and continuous, you will get a free-flowing investment. People will get jobs, and people will have more money to spend on the things that they need to live a life. And then we want to end poverty, and we want to bring more relief to people that are in impoverished and in unequal circumstances.
Well, thank you, Mike. And Zandile Masina, why should you be voted back into power?
Look, when President Mbeki made a statement during the 30-year review, he made a very fundamental point, which many South Africans must not forget. He said, when they entered office after a democratic government in 1994, there was nothing. So I just find it very odd that a DA leader would come here and say all the sorts of things that he's saying, because ANC had to rebuild the country from scratch in 1994. Everything was looted by whites. Everything was sold by them in South Africa. And there is no one who has challenged President Mbeki when he said when they arrived in office, they found nothing. He knows, seated here, that everything was sold under apartheid and it was looted. And they left the state bankrupt. The ANC has, for the past 8 years, painstakingly worked to build the state what it is today. And with all the shortcomings, all the democratic institutions that we have today, including the Chapter 9s, have been built by the ANC in this country. All the checks and balances that we have today are being built by the ANC in this country. So it can't be that we sit here as if the ANC over the past 8 years has not been able to deliver anything to the people of South Africa. Now, my former comrade and my leader, for all his life, he has served the African National Congress, including going to exile.
Is this Bafana?
Yes, he knows.
From the MK party?
Yes, he knows the plight and what the ANC advances have been. But because of the short-term anger, what I want to call a short-term anger, because we believe we will find each other at some point, he comes here and say and almost dispute the good work of the ANC that we've done with him over the past 8 years, because he just left 5 months ago to this new party. So it can't be that when we're having public debates, we're also disingenuous about facts and on what the ANC has been able to do. I said, Clement, go back to the records. It's easy, there is Google these days, and check how many South Africans were working in 1993, and check how many South Africans are working now. You'll see that the number has doubled. We've put that here. The second point I want to raise is that the reason why South Africans must vote for the African National Congress, there are 6 priorities that we've put in the main.
Give me 3.
Where we said, firstly, we are going to create jobs. And secondly, we are going to deal with the issues of cost of living. We are going to industrialize. We are going to invest in people. And we are also going to ensure that we defend democracy, because today it's a very lovely day to have all the parties here without tension, because democracy has matured. We have even people who are sponsored by some of the families, those who I was mentioning here. They are seated here, all because they want to reduce, their bosses want to reduce the majority of the ANC, because we know the truth about the land and our minerals. And therefore, they are now that Musi and them have left, they are now sponsoring this new kid on the block to try and destabilize. And we are saying that in the next few days, the ANC will still be in charge of South Africa.
They'll respond to that after Tidi.
Thank you so much.
Just about
I'm going to speak to a couple of people, but as I speak to you, guys, please give us a chance. We want to take your comments and questions. It's almost 5 minutes to the top of the hour. There's news at 11, so let's keep it tight. And Tando, your thoughts? Your question?
Thank you very much. Let's have a nuanced debate with a battle of ideas here.
Guys, let's give Ndando a chance. EFF, let's also give Ndando a chance. Please.
Tsidi, my first issue is I'm directing it at the DA.
Guys, can you please?
Matriculant leader went in front of Soweto House and went and said, if you are black, you must come and get a certificate from us. In that certificate, you are agreeing to be paid less than the minimum wage. This is their matriculant leader, Steinheze. My issue is that the media has not taken this up in terms of these people are reintroducing the Job Reservation Act through the back door. Worst of all, we have people like Songezo here who say they represent the youth who are unemployed and et cetera, et cetera. They don't criticize him. They don't criticize the DA in what they're doing.
Okay, thank you, Tando. No. You must give other people a chance. Songezo is here, he'll respond. Mike Moratti is here, he'll respond. Hi, sir, please come closer. Let's be very quick. Sawubona, angigropi. Phanyisa sibheke indaba. Phanyisa khuluma.
Angicale ngapha ngesintu. Ngiyazi sikhuluma isilungu for lo baba lo one. Ngesintu baba Mashaba. Amanzi wethu wawathatha wena. Qedile lapha.
Thank you so much. Uqedile ngithi.
Comrade knows. kunento eningi ongafananga ukhombe ANC kuzo ngoba you were part of it. In that 30 years oyiblame wena akwazi uba 30 years wena maybe ungaba 10 years because you were involved in a lot of things, Mr. Dos.
Okay, thank you. There are other people behind you. Please give them a chance.
We'll take them after because I need to take a break.
Sidi
will come back to you.
He's going to a break.
We'll come back. It's 3 minutes before 11 o'clock.
When the president chats with us, we'll ask all the right questions.
Are we going to see load shedding suddenly return after the 29th of May? South Africans have been without it for almost 2 months now.
We've been managing, and ESCOM should really be applauded. And our Minister of Electricity working with them, and also the Minister of Public Enterprises. They've been working very closely with ESCOM to see how we can continue revamping and maintaining our power stations on a programmed basis. And that has yielded the results that we see now. We've had more than 50 days without any load shedding. We're going into winter, and it might be a really cold and bitter winter. It is going to depend on the energy availability factor, whether we've got enough power stations that are available. Right now, we've hit an energy availability factor of 70%, and that is to be applauded.
If you missed this exclusive interview with Cyril Ramaphosa on 702 with EWN, go to primemediaplus.com.
Just me and my GWMP series against the wilderness, conquering the ferocious school traffic with adaptive cruise control, dodging delivery bikes with autonomous emergency braking. Hi, honey.
Did you take my P series?
Mom, Dad's doing that thing again.
The GWMP series LT 4x4 from just $7,899 per month. T's and C's and more at gwm.co.za.
In today's digital era, internet and broadband data services are essential for consumers and businesses to thrive. Zaltec Telecoms is at the forefront of providing innovative solutions to transform traditional businesses and homes into fully connected digital environments, offering a range of tailored telecommunication services, including fiber, as well as solar power and green energy solutions. Visit zaltectelecoms.co.za to unlock a world of connectivity.
This advert is paid for by the political party concerned.
For the first time in 30 years, the ANC government will lose its majority. Opposition parties have united as the multi-party charter for South Africa.
A strong democratic alliance with a proven track record
Can anchor a new government that serves the people.
But a new government that works is only possible if you vote for it. Let's unite and rescue South Africa. Vote DA.
This advert was paid for by the political party concerned.
When running a business, you need to secure your cash. You can count on Fidelity Cash Solutions. Bringing the heat in the air and on the ground, you can rely on Fidelity Cash Solutions to keep your money safe. From securing cash in transit to cash acceptance devices and more. Trust Fidelity Cash Solutions, securing SA's cash economy. Visit fidelity-services.com and contact us for a free risk assessment.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
On the next Money Show, personal finance expert, the co-founder at Galileo Capital, Warren Ingram, on what you need to consider when buying a house. It's a massive decision. It takes huge consideration and planning. We'll do our Africa business focus. Chief Executive of Transaction Capital, post we buy cars, we sold cars in their case. All of that on the next Money Show.
The Money Show
with Bruce Whitfield on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The 2024 ABSA Growth Summit brings you award-winning trade and working capital funding solutions to enable you to unlock the full potential of your business story and navigate the ever-evolving landscape of disruption with confidence. ABSA is a registered FSP.
This is Eyewitness News.
Good morning, I'm Bali Dlamini. We begin with election-related matters.
EWN Elections 2024.
Some elderly Soweto residents have slammed the ANC-led government over its handling of youth unemployment. They have been raising frustrations to political leaders present at 702's final election town hall at the Kloof Multipurpose Centre this morning. The community members say unemployment amongst young people is one of the causes of crime in Soweto. Alpha Ramushwana is at the town hall.
An elderly Soweto resident and local businesswoman, Nomsaleso, has partially attributed the unemployment crisis in Soweto to a lack of political will.
So my challenge is, arena the resource as really more deep proof. I've tried to speak to some of the political parties, but no one is interested.
Another Deep Kloof community member, Keketso Mogotlane, has echoed the sentiments.
Crime is actually caused by the idle minds of our kids who are educated but unemployed. We complain about gangsterism and crime, but we don't go to the root cause.
Political leaders in attendance today are expected to respond to concerns raised by community members. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News, Soweto.
ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's confident of coming back for another term as the head of state. Ramaphosa has been the country's #1 citizen since February 2018 after Jacob Zuma resigned. The president says while his time in office has been difficult due to factors including the COVID-19 pandemic and the July unrest of 2021, there's also been progress. Ramaphosa says there is still a lot he wants to do to improve the country.
I will be voted back into power, and many may not like this, but it's going to happen. And I will serve my term. And serve is the operative word, serving the people of South Africa with the best that I can give in the remaining years of my life.
If you missed it, you can still access the President's exclusive interview with Clement Manyathela and Sidi Madia on the Prime Media Plus app. To this now, the Judicial Service Commission is currently interviewing Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya for the position of Chief Justice. The incumbent, Raymond Zondo, will be retiring in August. President Cyril Ramaphosa put forward Maya as the sole nominee for the position in February. Bernadette Wicks reports.
Then SCA President Mandisa Maya was the JSC's pick for the post last time, but ultimately it's the President's call, and he opted to appoint then Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo instead. Maya was appointed his deputy. Even so, it was never a given that she would succeed Zondo, and even as the sole nominee this time, she, like all other candidates, now has to subject herself to an interview before the JSC. It'll then make a recommendation to President Cyril Ramaphosa. Again, the final call remains the President's to make, but Ramaphosa clearly backs Maya, and so long as she gets the JSC's vote again, she certainly appears to be a shoo-in. Bernadette Wicks, Eyewitness News.
And a fisherman has died after a snook fish boat capsized in the vicinity of Shelley Point on the west coast. The National Sea Rescue Institute says Shelley Point security raised the alarm around 4 p.m. yesterday. It's been reported that 4 local fishermen were on the boat when it capsized at the backline breakers. The NSRI's Craig Lambinon says 2 fishermen survived while a 4th man remains missing.
2 survivors, both local adult males, were treated on the scene by paramedics for non-fatal drowning symptoms and injury. Commenced for 1 missing man. Despite an extensive sea and shoreline search, there remains no signs of the missing man. The police, water policing and diving services were activated. Police divers are continuing an ongoing search for the missing man.
Gold is trading at $2,414.03 an ounce. The rand is at 18.22 to the dollar, 23.15 to the pound, 19.77 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $83.71 a barrel.
Midrand accident seen on the N1 southbound near the Between Interchange, causing more than a 20-minute delay all the way from Allendale. There's also huge delays on Old Joburg Road in the Midrand area approaching Olifantsfontein Road. And in Kloof, there's bumper-to-bumper traffic on Allendale Road. This is between Kloof Primary School and the Mamelodi Sundowns headquarters.
A fine Tuesday in store for Gauteng, temperatures peaking at highs of between 24 and 27 degrees. The top story in Eyewitness News, some elderly Soweto residents have slammed the ANC-led government over its handling of youth unemployment.
Eyewitness News, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, log on to ewn.co.za or the new EWN app. On the road to elections 2024, let's reflect on how far we've come together. Go to primemediaplus.com and ewn.co.za. Start your mid-morning with the Clement Manyathela Show.
Live from Soweto.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
All right. Thank you. Let's come down. Let's come down. Action SA, ANC, DA. Can we come down? Please? It's 7 minutes after 11 o'clock. Dumelang, this is the third and final hour of the Clement Manyathela Show. You're listening to this special broadcast of the show. It's the last 702 elections town hall, and the spirits are high here, as you can hear, at the Deep Kloof Multi-Purpose Center here in Soweto. This is where we've been hearing from the representatives of the ANC, of the EFF, of the IFP and the Democratic Alliance. I'm going to go to Tsidi now before I let the guests go, just to take 3 more inputs for now, and we'll take more a little later from some of the community members. ANC.
Guys, why is it always ANC? Guys, please calm down. Why?
ANC.
Why is it always ANC? That's unruly.
They think we're in idols here, this ANC. Why in a debate, man?
Guys, ANC, please let's give people a chance. Okay. I'm going to try and move on from the ANC.
ANC.
Comrades, can you please sit down there, please, comrades?
Comrades, please listen to your leader. Please listen to Mzwandile, and let's give people a chance to be heard. Let's give community members a chance to be heard.
Let's allow the debate, comrades.
So I'll control the battle.
DA. Hey, DA, please say it. DA. ANC.
Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
We are hearing from community members, sir. You heard the politicians. What are your thoughts? What are your questions? Very quickly, a few seconds.
Thank you. My name is Pat Mamabola. I'm from National School Governing Body. From all the leaders which are at the panel, I would like to know, because black excellence is poor education, what are you doing with our schools, which the role is going, it's declining daily? None of you, your kids are attending a public school. None of you. Now, what I need to know, from the local schools, we've got CSI programs. We haven't seen you coming. Always the leaders, their children are in the suburbs. But our schools' roles are declining. Currently for Township economy, we've got a Soweto flea market started here in Deep Kloof. All the councillors from 26, 27, 28, 29 are supporting the program. And it's doing very well. So we want to know, you leaders, what are you doing to champion and readdressing social economic activities?
Thank you so much, Abuti Pat. Very quickly, I only have a few minutes. I'll come back to everybody else a little bit later. What are your thoughts, sir?
Okay. Now my question is directed to you, Mr. Ndlozine. Because I believe that the EFF is going to be in charge of Gauteng. But nevertheless, my question is that Date Mashaba, when he was a leader here,
it appears that we've got a bit of a problem with connection in Soweto.
And today, as I talk to you,
it's going well. It's 10 minutes after 11 o'clock. And they're back.
Of water. We have a crisis of water shading. If you can go right now, I'm talking about something that is practical. If you can go door to door and make your own analysis and audit on how many people are affected by the project that was introduced, they are many.
All right, I'm going to have to say that. I have to give her a chance. Thank you so much. Very quickly as well, please.
My name is Motlali Pulelesu, and I own a small company called MNL.
Please, can we listen to Motlali Pule, I beg? Please.
I own a small company called MNL Design. My question is for the ANC. When he said that SMMEs help with small things, I need to know, because that as an individual young child, we need help with machines and factories. SMMEs don't help. NYDA does not help. So all I'm asking is, can the Deep Kloof residents also be known in the South African residents? Not only when they want our votes, but also when we look to offer job opportunities to other people.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clement. That's the floor. We'll come back to the floor later. Back to you.
Okay, responses. We'll start with you, Zwandile.
Thank you very much. I think, Mtlalepule, with regard to the issues we are raising on small business, as I said, that the department is actually geared up to ensure that we can give full support to our entrepreneurs, even at local level. So we will talking to our structures here, including councillors, make sure that we make sure the information flows into this specific area. With regard to the other question on the social activities, there are a lot of support mechanisms in national government, provincial government that are made available to support our entrepreneurs at local level, including the new bill that was passed here on township economy. I know that there is another debate whether or not that's how we should call it, but those activities are here to support our small businesses in the main.
All right, EFF, there was someone who who addressed you directly. Go ahead.
Well, that's precisely the problem. Water is one of the basic human rights. And I think that it's unfortunate that it's being privatized in relation to its distribution in Johannesburg. Of course, at the moment, the truth is that the Johannesburg municipality is run by a concoction of political parties, inclusive of ourselves. We oppose the rate or the idea of a prepaid water system, and we have balanced it, spoken against it. The reality is, South Africans, if they were to give an outright majority to the political parties, to the EFF that cares for their interest outrightly, would be fine. Okay. The last point I want to make. Yeah. I want us to dismantle. South Africans, do not allow yourselves to be squeezed in a township and you contest over the cramps. This country belongs to you, all of it. For an example, SMMEs. SMMEs are central, they are important. Okay. But Clement, the reality is, because the banks of South Africa are white dominated and white owned, they don't give business funding to black people. The reality of the matter is that funding of entrepreneurial activities from the banks is circulating amongst the white community. Yeah. That's why you've got to break the back of the banks in South Africa through nationalization or the beginning of a state bank. That's what the EFF is going to do.
Thank you very much. So those were the two things that were addressed to these parties. It's 14 minutes now after 11 o'clock. When we come back, you'll hear from Bosa, from Rise Mzansi, you hear from Shiluva, and of course, Action SA.
John Perlman. Weekday afternoons,
3 to 6.
What about then getting people licensed? I mean, from what you know of the environment in which there's been this massive growth, I think some people might call it even an explosion, of motorbike-based and scooter-based delivery services, what proportion of those people do you think got the necessary licenses?
If everyone pulled together and they do their job and they do regular roadblocks by pulling these guys over and checking their licenses, some of these riders are also not just local, they're foreign riders.
Hein Jonker, founder of The Motorcycle.
John Perlman.
3 to 6 on 702.
Get ready for the 25th Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, where the jazz gets deeper with Chris Botti, Keiko Matsui, Fatumata Diawara, Jonina, Liz Wright, Matthew Halsall, Tandi Somazwai, Kucho Valdez, Darren English, Victor Masondo, Jessica Pina, and other heavy hitters on the local and international jazz scene. Take me there to 5 stages of the Sandton Convention Center on the 27th to the 28th of September. Visit joyofjazz.co.za for more information. Tickets selling out on Ticketmaster.
World Sports Betting puts the excitement of Vegas in the palm of your hand. Bet on thousands of markets daily or try your luck on hundreds of games and you could become an instant millionaire. Register today at wsb.co.za and get your first deposit matched up to a massive 20,000 Rand. World Sports Betting. Bet with the best. Licensed by Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No person under the age of 18 permitted to gamble. NRGP toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008. Winners know when to stop.
And we will buy 500 cars, and we will buy 500 more. Just to be the one who buys your car. We'll come to you and offer more. We buy cars, we buy cars. Da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-da-da. We buy cars, we buy cars. Da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-dun-da-da-da-da.
We Buy Cars, the easiest way to sell your car by far.
Chew on This is a new web series about food politics in South Africa. I'm your host, Crystal Audison. Join me as we unpack how big food is violating our right to nutritious food. The right to food is a constitutional right for all in South Africa. Catch us on healer.org.
May is Africa Month. To commemorate, 702 and RMB want to highlight the remarkable investment opportunities that the African continent presents. 702 brings you the third installment of the RMB Africa Focus series. This year, the spotlight is on Africa's investment readiness. Tune into 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. as Crystal Audison takes us on a deep dive on the African investment landscape. Brought to you by RMB, a leading African corporate and investment bank on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The conversation continues
On the Clement Manyathela Show.
Coming to you live
From Soweto.
All right.
702.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
It's 18 minutes now after 11 o'clock. Can we just come down, please? Can we please come down? NC, let's come down. Rise, we can sit now. Oh yeah, you are seated. NC, thank you very much. Can we settle down? Thank you to Zandile from the IFP, to Dr. Ndlozi from the EFF, Mike Moriarty from the DA, and Mzwandile Masina from the ANC. On stage now, we've got the leader of Action SA, Herman Mashaba. Mr. Mashaba, thank you so much for being here with us.
Wonderful, great to be here.
We also have Charles Silias, who's one of the members of Patriotic Alliance, one of the founders as well. Charles, thank you for being here.
Morning, thank you.
We also have Bafana Mahlabe, who is the MK party spokesperson here in Gauteng. Bafana, thank you. Guys, we are here to also listen to the guests we have here. So please, can we just come down? It doesn't help us just screaming for no reason. Can we just come down so we can hear from these leaders? And then we're going to give you an opportunity to also raise your issues.
Thank you, Clement. My mic was off.
Thank you very much, Bafana. We also have Nobuntu Hlazo Webster, who's the co-founder and deputy leader of Build One South Africa. Nobuntu, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having us.
Songezo Zibi is the national leader of Rise Mzansi. Songezo, thank you. And thank you. Oh, okay. Rise Mzansi, thank you. And we also have Bongani Baloyi, who is the founder of Shiluva.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I guess the first question I'll ask is, and we'll start with you, Mr. Mashaba. What's your proposal and the commitment you're making as Action SA to not only the residents of Soweto, but people who are listening to us on the radio? Why should they give Action SA an opportunity to govern after the 29th of May?
Well, I think what's important for Action SA to be given an opportunity to govern this country, because we're a political party committed to a non-racial society, South Africa. We're a party committed to free market economy. We're a party that believes in the rule of law. We're a party that believes in good quality education for South Africans. We're a party that believes in the rule of ethical leadership. We're a party that is committed to pro-poor South Africans. That's why I'm actually quite shocked, the EFF. I cannot, honestly, it is beyond my imagination that the hatred of EFF on poor people has gone to steroids.
I cannot believe that they can hate to poor people to that level when their own party's leadership, they are the gushy people. They rely on taking people, poor people's money. They rely on getting their funding from cigarette smugglers. They are the party that's calling for open borders for our country, for local businesses in our communities to be run.
Go ahead, Mr. Mashala. Let's give him a chance.
Businesses in our communities must be run by international crime syndicates. It is beyond imagination. For us as Action SA, we are saying shops in our communities are going to be run by South Africans. There's open borders of the EFF. South Africa is a sovereign country. Our borders are going to be controlled, and no undocumented a person coming from whether it's from Nigeria or from Pakistan or Bangladesh, they are not welcome in our country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mashaba. Yeah, thank you guys. Let's go to Shiliva, Mr. Baloyi.
Thank you so much. I think it's important for one to make the point here that we're all here gathered to talk about whether we've received adequate democratic dividends in this democracy. And look at the people in this room here. I can tell you now 99% of them are unemployed who are coming to listen about the democratic dividends of our country. That simply says to us that this democracy is not working for black people, this democracy. This democracy has facilitated the enrichment of more white people than of black people. In fact, black people today are in a worse off situation in terms of the economy. So if you were to measure what black people take home from a financial point of view versus their white counterparts, you'll still find that by a large stretch that white people take home more than black people. So we are saying we need to restructure the state. Now, how do you restructure the state as a precondition to successfully transform the lives of our people? Number one, we must reduce this government, the cabinet, and half it. Number two, we must remove the sphere of provincial government. Number three, you must reduce municipalities from the current number to 60 districts in the country. Number four, we must reduce the number of parliamentarians from 400 to 100 parliamentarians. Majority of them do not serve you even. In fact, we must ensure that parliamentarians are elected directly from these 60 districts. What we are trying to get to here, Clement, is the fact that government in its full capacity is not properly geared to resolve the lives of our people.
Yeah.
In fact, government is too fragmented. You've got a province, you've got a local municipality, you've got a district municipality. Where the money must get to at a local municipality, ayifiki imali lapho iphelele ku-province ifika kwezinye indawo. So it's important for us to realize that we must remove this fear of government, ensure that the capacity in including devolution of police and education to a district municipality.
Okay.
60 district municipalities, siqeda yonke lento yama-blue lights abantu abaningi about 257. We must ensure that you've got cabinet, national government, you've got district municipalities, two-sphere government.
All right, Charles, as the Patriotic Alliance, what is your proposition?
Thank you, Clement. Look, I think that one of the biggest issues in our country is a lack of real leadership. And we can talk about all these issues, but everybody's got a fantastic idea. But who has a fantastic leader? And we know that our president, Gayton McKenzie, showed by example what he brings in. And he went to the Central Karoo and he was the district mayor there for more than a year, just over a year. And during that time, he didn't take a salary. He donated that money to charity and to the local community. He went and he did fundraising to actually bring projects to an absolutely bankrupt municipality that subsequently we have turned around. And you can go back and look at the stats there of how we're repaying the Eskom debt and how one of the most derelict municipalities in South Africa has been turned around. And that for us was an example of what the PA difference can be. Because we don't want to make empty promises, we want to show by doing. And the PA people that are here today, they go in their communities and they sacrifice their time, their own money, and the PA is about that. We want to bring God back into our schools. We want to bring back the death penalty, because if you kill, then you must be killed. We're going to have mass deportation of illegal immigrants. We are going to turn around this economy, give small businesses the chance to compete again, break the big monopolies that run this economy.
Yeah.
And in a nutshell, get to know more about the PA, because we're more of a family And it's not really politics, it's about making that difference for the sake of our children.
Yeah.
And even on the stage, the ANC overstayed their welcome. We were supposed to be on here at 11 o'clock. They've overstayed their welcome for the past 30 years. And we say as the PA, abahambe.
Thank you very much. Songezo, Ezra Mzansi, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. Asibambe. Thank you, thank you. Sharp. Songezo, Ezra Mzansi, what's your proposition?
Thank you very much, Clement. So, our message in this election is that we need new leaders. And the evidence of why we need new leaders was sitting here for 20 minutes longer than they should have been here. Because they were supposed to finish at 11. And they were given an opportunity to explain why, and they failed. And let me tell you what they had an opportunity to explain and didn't explain. Why, for the first time in the history of this country, graduates are standing with their academic gear on street corners begging for work. Unemployment is worse today than it was in 2008. Unemployment is worse today than it was in 2008. The ANC said after Pulukwane that Luthuli House is a strategic center of power. The strategic center of power moved to Saxon World, where the Guptas ran this country from their house. In other countries, Clement, the truth hurts and we must say it. In other countries, people go and see the president. The president doesn't go to their house. We had a president of the ANC and ministers of the ANC who left their offices to go and be summoned by a family that was not even from here. And that family looted money from Transnet, from Eskom, and from everywhere where they felt like they needed to loot. Today, people don't have enough water. Half of kids that start school do not finish. 6 million young people are in a category called not in employment, education, or training. 6 million. These people were sitting here and they never got to explain themselves, along with the DA that has been governing the Western Cape and the city of Cape Town for 15 years. That is why we need new leaders. That is why we need new leaders with a plan. A plan to put solar panels on every roof in South Africa and train and employ young people to install and maintain that system. We have proposed a 300 billion rand tax on wealthy South Africans, which the ANC has had 30 years to do, and they failed to do. They sit here on the stage, and they try and spend most of their time talking about what is wrong with other political parties because they don't have a good story to tell. Okay. We must bring out the receipts, and the receipts are uncomfortable for the thieves, Amasela, who must go. Their time is up, and that time is this election on 29 May. Both the president who stuffs money in his couch and all of his cabinet must go. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bafana, thank you. Let's hear from the MK party. Bafana, go ahead.
Thank you, Clement. Well, in terms of the Umkhonto weSizwe party,
yeah, go ahead.
We must start off by saying to prove that people in South Africa are yearning for change. A 5-month-old baby filled up Orlando Stadium on the weekend. We filled Orlando Stadium to the brink against the doomsayers who were saying we're not going to be able to fill the stadium. Now, I must come to the core issue. The core issue is MK is actually the alternative to what is happening in this country, precisely because we are talking about everything and everything else except the fundamental issue, which is the land. There is an elephant in the room, and that elephant is the land. And everybody is not confronting the elephant in the room, is beating about the bush, because we as MK, we want to bring back the dignity of the African child. And we are saying 1994 gave us something that looks like freedom, because we have a right to vote vote, but we do not have a right to participate in the main economy of the country. Just like the gentleman who was here earlier speaking about spaza shops, speaking about creating employment, I think people are living in a fallacy because you cannot create employment if you are not growing the economy. That is simple science. That is simple logic. You cannot create jobs whilst you are shedding jobs. Post office is closing down. They are closing down post office because their handlers are actually on their neck to say you must sell everything quickly before these people come in. And it's clear that their time is over and the time is for the people to come in right now.
All right, Nobuntu. Thank you very much. Let's give Bossa an opportunity.
So here's the reality that we live with in South Africa 30 years post-democracy. We live in multiple South Africans. We live in a South Africa where you can go to a suburb and find tarred roads, and you can go to a township and find dirt roads. We live in a South Africa where you can go to a suburb and find economies, you can find buildings, you can find businesses, and you live in a township where you will not find those businesses. You can go to South Africa and you will find in a suburb schools that are of the top quality, the highest quality in this country, and then you will go to a township and you'll find schools that have been abandoned or schools that have no windows at all. And so the Build One SA mission is to build one South Africa. And we are focused on the economy in order to be able to do that. We've called our manifesto the Jobs Plan because as we traveled throughout South Africa, what was very clear from South Africans is that what they want is work, what they want is jobs. And in order to be able to do that, you have to expand the economy. What is very clear is that this mainstream economy that everyone is talking about today cannot absorb the level of unemployment that we have in this country. And so you have to expand the economy. You do have to build a township economy. You do have to allow for locals to be able to own businesses. And you do have to be able to invest in businesses like factories, businesses like innovation centers, businesses like call centers that are owned in townships, that employ people in townships so that people are able to live where they work. And lastly, we have been in a system that has taken away power from South Africans. We sat worried about the ANC elective conference because depending on that outcome, that was going to determine who becomes our president. But as Build One SA, we have said we were the first party to say to South Africans, choose your leaders. Choose leaders who are credible. Choose leaders who are skilled. Choose leaders who will not steal from the coffers in order to enrich themselves and take away from the people. It's time to put power back in the hands of the people. And as Build One SA, that is what we are doing.
Okay, so we're going to take the headlines. When we come back, I want you to address some of the specific issues that were raised around crime, the spaza shops, the issue of unemployment. But please also, Tsidi Dia will, on the floor, take some of the questions and inputs from the community members. It's 11:34. Time for the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. Maki, good morning.
Thanks, Clement. Good morning. Some elderly Soweto residents have slammed the ANC-led government over its handling of youth unemployment. They've been raising frustrations to political leaders present at 702's final election town hall at the Kloof Multipurpose Centre this morning. The community members say the unemployment among young people is one of the causes of crime in Soweto. Deputy Chief Justice Mandisa Maya has told the Judicial Service Commission of how her appointment to the country's highest court was the biggest moment of her life. The JSC is interviewing Maya today to succeed current Chief Justice Raymond Zondo when he retires in August. She has been put forward by President Cyril Ramaphosa as the sole nominee. And International Criminal Court prosecutor Karim Khan has called for the immediate release of Israeli hostages taken by Hamas. More than 250 hostages were reportedly taken by the Palestinian military group following its unprecedented attack on Israel last October. About 1,200 people were killed, and Israel claims that 129 hostages remain in captivity. Those are the headlines. This Eyewitness News and more at midday or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
We still have that accident scene in Midrand on the N1 southbound near the between interchange, causing delays all the way from Allendale. Also huge delays in the Midrand area. That's coming from Centurion, Old Joburg Road, approaching Olifantsfontein Road. Kloorkop traffic remains sluggish on Allendale Road between Kloorkop Pep and Mamelodi Sundowns headquarters in Foxburg Benoni. There's bumper-to-bumper traffic. This is on Rietfontein Road, R21, approaching the N12 westbound. There's also traffic lights not working in Hyde Park at Jan Smuts and 6th Avenue. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
Ah, shame. Do you have a sore throat? The Andalex range of lozenges offers two options. At the first signs of an irritated, scratchy throat, use Andalex lozenges for dual action, soothing relief. But for a painful, inflamed throat, use Andalex C lozenges for triple action, pain relief. Andalex, SA's #1 choice for a sore mouth and throat. Andalex lozenges are available at all leading pharmacies and supermarkets.
Just Andalex it. Before you sell your car, be really sure. Before you drive too far, be really sure. Be really sure. Be really sure. Before you settle for less, and it feels like too much stress. Before you sell your car, be really sure. Be really sure.
Get multiple offers and the best cash price when selling your car. Go to wheelie.co.za or the new Midstream Megastore for the best offer and instant payment.
To walk the talk is to turn words into meaningful actions. And it's what we at 702 are committed to doing every day. We're also committed to following the rules set out by the Broadcasting Complaints Commission's Code of Conduct. To give you balanced programming, fair comment, and accurate news. But if we stumble along the way and you feel we're not living up to the code, let us know on comment@702.co.za. And if after that you're still not happy, you can direct your complaint in writing to the Broadcasting Complaints Commission, PO Box 412365, Craighall 2024. For more, visit bccsa.co.za. Leading community conversations. This is the Clement Manyathela Show, live from Soweto.
702. Let's walk the talk.
It's 22 minutes before 12 o'clock. On the stage, we've got a representative of the MK Party, we've got the Patriotic Alliance, we've got Action SA, Bosa, Shiluva, and of course Rise Mzansi. I want you in a moment to start thinking about the issues that were raised by community members around crime, unemployment and spaza shops, and how as political parties what your solutions are to resolving some of the concerns they've raised. But before that, let's go back to our Tsidi Madia on the floor with some of the inputs and questions from the community.
All right, thank you, Clement. I'm joined by Umeli from White City. Good morning, Butmeli.
Yebo sanibona igama uMeli Kebashe from White City Chabavu. I have a problem because I've been hearing most of you guys sitting there speaking about the township economy as amaspaza shops. As a resident of White City Chabavu, I don't know where you did your consultation because we don't want to own a maspaza shop, Tina. We want to be taken to school so that we are skilled and we know how to run our economy and to contribute in the economy of South Africa. We want to be taken to school so that we know ukuthi ama-bank aranwa kanjani, so that we know ukuthi ama-mines lawa enithi won't be able to run mase sithola umhlaba wethu back, how they are ran. That is what we want. And you are running away from the truth by telling us that we must go to a maspaza shop and open a maspaza shop that are owned by the so-called illegal immigrants.
Thank you so much, Putmeli from White City. I see you in your Patriotic Alliance. I wanted to ask, what's on your mind?
Now, ANC has admitted once again that they have destroyed our government hospitals and now they want to bring the NHI in the system. They couldn't even take care of our hospitals. Now they want to destroy the private hospitals. And they also want to loot our private hospitals again with the funding that's coming through. In terms of the township economy, EFF is blaming our people for giving their shops, giving shops over, but you don't understand that our people, because of the socio-economic issues that the ANC has allowed, our people are forced to rent out shops to these foreigners. Unless they go, our township economy will never be developed. Unless they stop the export of goods, our mainstream economy will never be fixed. Salute.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Here's a familiar face. Okay, guys. Here's a familiar face. When you speak about floor crossing, it's that. Good morning. What's on your mind?
Thank you, Sisidi. I think the ANC has failed South African for the past 30 years. To date in Soweto, our people, they don't have title deed. Now, in the same world that we are here, Clement Manyathela issued more than 600 title deeds while he was a mayor. Now we are calling all South Africans to vote for Action SA. And water prepaid issue came with the ANC. The guy who was here was misleading. Clement Manyathela did not come with prepaid. We believe go free user. If you use for water, you must pay for it. There's indigency policy that we believe in. Can Clement Manyathela tell us what is it all about the insourcing that Action SA is telling us?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Insourcing that Action SA is telling us about. If you remember, insourcing happened under Clement Manyathela with the EFF. Speaking of which, here's an EFF member.
Oh, thank you, Tidi. My name is Lebu from here in Deep Kloof. It's unfortunate that people like Clement Manyathela are given a platform because he's preaching hate against Africans. He can't even run anything except a hair salon. And when it comes to people like Songezo Zibi and his Rise Mzansi, our people don't have houses. He's talking about solar panels. He's going to put solar panels on shacks. Land and jobs now stop load shedding.
Thank you so much. Very, very quickly, Pa, please. Someone putting his beating in and yet.
Mina ngusipho neokazwane ngihlale wat 15 esinawane nasephiri ngiyaziwe konke ukukhulunywa ukuthi kanjani ANC ithena they've got 2 million jobs enayo kodwa abantu abangasebenzi baningi ukudlula le misebenzi leyo kunezinto ezathathwa uMashaba ama details abantu athathwe uBabulon uPanyaza Lisufi wathathile khona manje we don't know ukuthi kwenziwani ngalezi zinto lezi or bayofaka ku database kaKhongolose.
Okay, ngiyabonga ngicela ukuhamba bhuti bafana ngifuna ukumnikeza ichance. Kunabantu abaningi ngicela banikeze ichance. Thank you.
Thank you, Sidi. My question is for Bossa. You promise a job for every household. How are you going to manage to deliver over 20 million jobs for every house?
Thank you so much. Last shot. Last question from the MK party, quickly.
For 30...
Yes, speak. I've got the microphone, speak.
For 30 years, our country, we were given half-baked freedom. Therefore, I want to know from MK, how are you going to take us to total liberation? Because from 1994, what we receive is just a right to vote, no land, no economy. How are we going to total liberation?
Thank you so much. The next person, last person for now, thank you.
Thank you, Sidi. My question is directed to Mr. Bongan Baloyi. So, one, I want to ask that how do we restructure government? And two, how do we get rid of the constitution that's making our people very poor every now and then?
Thank you, Clement.
All right, we'll come back for some more inputs and questions. Mr. Manyathela, there was a question around insourcing. I want you to think about that, Songezo, on solar panels. The EFF gentleman says they want land and jobs. Are you going to put solar panels on shacks? Bossa, there's a question about the jobs you're promising for every household. The MK party, they want you to tell them about how you're going to take this liberation forward. Bongani, restructuring government. But Mr. Manyathela, let's start with you, please.
Well, I think the question of insourcing of our exploited South Africans by the Tripartite Alliance, COSATU in particular. For us as Action SA, we are unapologetic. All three spheres of government, all the cleaner security and what we call APWP jobs are going to be permanent jobs for people to actually get the dignity of permanent employment. And we are not going to apologize to anyone about this because these jobs are of a permanent nature. We are not going to allow ANC cadres to be the ones operating from cell phones, exploiting our people. So insourcing, it is definite, it is not negotiable. And I think, let me just address this issue of spaza shops with our EFF colleagues who are calling for open borders. EFF people, just understand, to build an economy, you start on the ground. You don't just start by,
Give him a chance. Give him a chance. Give him a chance.
Your policy of open borders, you allow criminal elements to come and run businesses in our communities, is not going to be allowed. As Action SA, we are unapologetic. All these illegal foreigners that you are bringing into this country, we are going to send them back to their countries.
Thank you very much. Charles, can you just address the issue of spaza shops as well? And then I'll get the others to respond to their specific questions, but also touch on the issue of township economy and spaza shops.
Look, Clement, I think no one is saying that spaza shops is the answer to unemployment. But the fact is that for South African to enter that sector is next to impossible. I was even involved in a company that was trying to help South Africans to do it. But it is really impossible because they will cut their prices down until you are run out of town. And they've got a system that is inviolable. And we've allowed that under our watch as this government. And we are saying as the Patriotic Alliance that young people can get jobs. We're going to put them in national service. They're going to go to the military if they have to. They're going to learn skills. They're going to secure our borders. They're going to stop these people from coming in once we've mass deported them. They're not coming back. And we're going to send them on missions into the rest of Africa to bring peace as well. Because some of this money from the spaza shops is going to fund terrorism in places like Mozambique. We cannot allow that on our watch.
Yeah.
So we're saying that, yes, we need insourcing as well. We need a strong public sector and a strong public service. And unfortunately, I think there's a boycott on South Africans to get jobs because you don't find South Africans driving Ubers. You don't find them in the security industry in Cape Town. You don't find them in restaurants.
Okay.
What is going on? We have to stop this.
Yeah. Nobuntu, you're promising a job in every home. They're asking how you're going to deliver that. Give her a chance. Give her a chance.
There are currently 16.7 million jobs in this country and 18 million households. In order to be able to have a job in every household, you need 2 million jobs. And so we're promising 2 million jobs in 5 years. That's what that is. The thing I wanted to speak about also and respond to is this issue of the gentleman who speaks about spaza shops and how we're saying that the township economy is only for spaza shops. Absolutely not. What we have said as Build One SA is that townships must become special economic zones under the Special Economic Zones Act of 2014, which will ensure that you have employment incentives for businesses that are local in townships, that will ensure that you have tax benefits for businesses that are in township. And in that way, you're able to focus on a manufacturing sector in townships. You are right, my brother. You have every right to own factories. You are right. You have every right to own call centers, to own big businesses in your townships. And that's what we have to see. The third thing I want to speak about is housing. There was an issue that was raised about housing. There are 1.2 million people just in Gauteng who are on a waiting list waiting for housing. And the biggest issue with regards to housing has been corruption. There has been corruption. There are people who work in government, who sell sites that belong to others and have been allocated to others, to people. They are making money off that. It is the corrupt government of the ANC that has deemed South Africans homeless. As Build One SA, we have said, in order to provide a sustainable solution to that, in order to stop the tendering where this money is spent, what you do is you provide South Africans and you say you have a service site. Whatever money was going to be allocated to building your house is allocated to you in the form of a voucher, and you go and get building material. You build your own house that looks the way that you want it to look, and you're able to have that power back in your hands.
Songeza?
Okay.
Yeah.
Clement, thank you. So, I was very interested in the previous conversation to see the limited mentality of our governing party. Black people are not only good enough to run spaza shops, people. No. We cannot have a party that has been in power for 30 years thinking that black people can only run spaza shops. And when you talk about an economy, you talk about spaza shops, that's all you talk about. This economy is for all South Africans. And this poor mentality of theirs is why we need new leaders. It's why we need new leaders. That's the first thing. The second thing, you can only get so many second chances in 30 years. Otherwise, it's a 100th chance. Sorry. The second thing, it's not enough to say you're going to create jobs. The question is how you're going to create jobs. And where is the money going to come from? Given that the money of South Africans was given to the Guptas and so on to steal and take away, the rest they go and spend in Dubai with their girlfriends. There are 3 ways in which you can create jobs very quickly in South Africa so that South Africans have work and you can have real businesses in South African communities that are participating in the full economy. Number 1, service delivery actually creates jobs. Delivering services actually creates jobs. We have a problem in South Africa, a public transportation problem. We have a water problem created by the ANC. We have an electricity problem created by the ANC. It is expensive and it is often not available except at election time. You use the 300 billion and more that we save from all of the corruption to invest in those things and to employ young people in the communities in which they live, and you hire their businesses to do the work. Firstly, so that's the first point.
Okay.
The last point I want to make is about land, because we have spoken about spatial and land justice. We have governing political parties in South Africa that are surprised that South Africa is urbanizing. And we force South Africans to become illegal occupants of land in their own land. We have said plan properly, do spatial planning, so that you can have enough land for people to settle. Expropriate land for that purpose. We've said the second thing. The third thing, service every stand that it must belong to somebody, whether it is for a home or a business, so that South Africans can have both land, jobs, and dignity.
All right, Bongani.
Thank you so much. I think it's difficult to continue in a conversation where we don't want to address the root cause of our problems. The root cause of our problems, Songeza, is also the fact that this economy isn't for all of us. If this economy was for all of us, me and Van Niekerk could go to Standard Bank and apply for a business loan. And Standard Bank would give us the same interest rates if it was the case, which is not the case today. So we fundamentally disagree that this economy is for all of us, because the factors that encourage, that give an advantage or give a platform for black people to get into business do not encourage or do not support that activity. The state has worsened that effect as well. I also want to make the point that many people do not appreciate what the role of the state is. And it's quite important for us to clarify that when the state takes over control of our lives in areas which it's permitted to do so, it must facilitate the transfer of wealth even as well. And that's the part many of us don't want to talk about, the transfer of wealth. We think black people are just content with only talking about spaza shop, township economy. Even in those economies, we're not producing anything, by the way. Black people in townships do not feature anywhere remotely to a municipal procurement process or even value chain as well. In fact, we are fighting for the last part of the value chain before consumption. So we must get out of that space and realize that this democracy will not assist us. Issues of land and issues of expropriation are not going to happen within this democracy, because many people say we live in a constitutional democracy. We differ. We live in a judicial democracy where the judiciary is effectively the executive of this country. That's why we are of the opinion that we must move away from a constitutional democracy to a parliament sovereignty, which will ensure that which will ensure that power resides where power should, which is parliament, where people have been elected, which is the express will of the people, not people who are appointed by people who have been elected, who want to change the substance of our laws.
Bafana, is the MK party?
Thank you very much, Clement. I think we are actually missing the point. One of the fundamental issues is that when you speak about the economy, you don't speak about the activities at the tail end. Rather, you are talking about a very core issue, which is the ownership of the means of production. Now, we need to teach our people that we must not be the proxies of the white monopoly capital, wherein they are going to build us spaza shops so that they can contain us in some corner, so that we believe that we are business people or we are running the economy. That is a fallacy. What we want to do as MK Party is that we want to first tackle the issue of the land, because there is no economy without the land. Number two, we want to make sure that our people participate in the main economic mainstream, because without producing anything, we need to reindustrialize South Africa. We need to make sure that the dignity of an African child is restored to its original position. For instance, on the issue of the land, we need to change this propaganda that we are being sold that we've got the best constitution in South Africa. You can't have a best constitution in South Africa where the Aborigines and the majority of the people are living in squalor, whereas you are saying you've got the best constitution in the country. We are going to change it as MK and make sure that this constitution favors the Aborigines of this country. We cannot live in the country of our birth as if we are stepchildren in South Africa.
No, thank you very much. On the issue of crime, Nobuntu, as Bossa, crime is another issue that has been raised by the community. What's the solution?
I think I want to start, before I even talk about crime at local level, I want to start by saying that when you are led by a government of criminals, there's no political will to actually handle the issue of crime. So a lot of the issues that we have even sit in the institutions that we have in this country. They sit in institutions like the Special Investigating Unit. They sit in institutions like the SSA. They sit in institutions like the National Prosecuting Authority, institutions that have been captured for the furtherance of crime by the leaders of this country. So that's the first to say. The second is to say that as it speaks to local issues of law enforcement, what we've got to make sure of is that we are able to localize better our law enforcement services. Localize better our law enforcement services, ensure that they are able to work with communities.
Okay.
Because we have a challenge with that. And then secondly, we have to have the political will to improve the efficiency and integrity of the law enforcement system. That speaks to even digitizing the system.
All right.
The system hasn't been digitized because if it was, then the people who are criminals who run this country would themselves be in
Okay,
trouble.
cool. I'm just trying to manage time now. Mr. Mashaba, the issue of crime, as Action SA, what's the solution?
Well, I think for us in South Africa to deal with crime, we need independent criminal justice system, independent of political interference. We need specialized units to deal with corrupt politicians and business people. We need specialized units to deal with murderers, rapists, and drug syndicates. We need to run 24-hour courts. We make sure that we do away with parole for these four categories. When you go to prison, you get life. Life must be life. Someone like Thabo Bester must die in prison.
Okay.
When you're a politician, you get sentenced to 25 years. You will serve 25 years without any
All right,
parole.
got it.
And over and above that, Clement, which is very important, we as Action SA, we committing to you South Africans, these four categories of crime, of criminals, they will never be supported by your taxes. They will work at the fields to pay back to society.
Got it. Songezo, crime.
So we have to deal with the drivers of crime, Clement, because South Africans are unemployed. South Africans don't have work, they don't have training opportunities, they don't have communities where there are facilities they can use for performing arts and so on. So the first thing that we must do, which is why we have a plan for jobs in Gauteng and in South Africa as a whole, is that people must have work. People must have work. So that is the first thing. The second thing is that we must remove all the corrupt officials, not only at local level, but at national level in the police, including the politicians that are enabling the criminal syndicates to influence the police and overrule them. Because having a criminal syndicate as your government results inherently in a crime problem at the top. Finally, Clement, we need more police, proper working conditions, excellent pay for police officers because they work for the South African people, more detectives, but most importantly, to work with communities on the prevention of crime.
Bongani?
Yes, we agree with parts of what Songezo is saying, because the fundamental mistakes of other political parties in response to crime is to say we are going to arrest more of you by increasing police, increasing this, instead of preventing the arrest of those people. So if you deal with poverty, unemployment, and inequality, what do we think those people who are unemployed, where 60% of young people are unemployed in this country, what do we think they are doing today? Some of them face real life situations where that is, if I don't do something today, I might not sleep with a full stomach. Those are very practical things. It doesn't require only the interest of police to go and arrest them. Instead, the state must go and prevent that.
Completely out of time. Charles, quickly.
We agree that you need sting units within the police because there's criminals in the police, so catch them first. And we need to digitize the dockets and put them on the blockchain so your docket can never disappear again.
Okay. Bafana?
Economic
Take that. Go ahead, Bafana. Time.
Economic disparity. We need to deal with economic disparity, make sure that our people are employed, our people are participating in the economy, because part of the problem with crime is actually the issue of poverty, unemployment, and hunger. We must also professionalize the police. We must also equip and support them and desist from political interference as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for also being here. Thank you for listening to the special broadcast of the Clement Manyathela Show, the last 702 Elections Town Hall.
With Defender.